How do, YouTube? Okay, so things aren't working out as well as they used to. We're now in that sort of stage where I'm gonna have to probably give up on YouTube Hangouts. So over the next couple of shows, if not next show, depending on how busy I am, I'm probably gonna have to reinvent this show, not based on Google Hangouts. So all the lovely sort of imagery associated therein will be destroyed. Sorry about that, but shit is as it is. Things are going wrong. For one thing, for example, for some reason or another, Google Chrome is a problem. I'm having to use the actual screen sharing business. Bit of a problem here, really. I literally cannot use my second screen. Beforehand, it was really good because you could just use Windows, but Windows applications. So, long story short, we're probably going to have to redo the open house in some fashion.
Oh my goodness, Robin, you're having trouble looking at your second screen? I'm so sorry.
Well,
That's
I
be
need
really
it.
terrible.
I need it.
How can you navigate a computer?
Shut the fuck up, blind guy. Anyway, and I, you know, you said it. Maggie, can you just do me a favour? And can you just make me a drink? I don't mean to be all patriarchal on you. Of course I'm sure. It's a Saturday. Of course I need another drink. I will not vomit, I assure you. But I do have to make a small toast.
Right now?
This very moment. Okay. Thank you very much.
Ice.
No, thank you. So yeah, if you want to get yourselves a drink together, John, can we get some a round of drinks here, please? I'll have a brandy and coke. What does everyone want?
I'll just have a coke because I don't drink. That's I thought
fine.
John died.
That's fine. Okay, get yourself a cup of tea, whatever the fuck you want. Ice water, I don't care. But I just want to make a moment of atheist prayer to a good friend of mine. I'm not going to give out any massive names. Some people already know this, so there's no need for me to go into a lot of details here. But a very good friend of mine who I adore has come into a bit of an accident. Let's say that. So Andy, wherever you are, mate, much love to you. And wherever you are, whether you're just switched off or gone with God, I shall miss you, you silly sod. Don't cry, little one. Don't cry. A gentleman and a gentleman, wasn't he? It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. He was a good guy. And we're going to have to look after Alia. We're going to have to look after her. She's going to need as much help as she can. Anyway. I was just sharing a drink for an old friend who has passed on recently, and I will love him. He was a really good DP. The guy knew how to get a decent angle. Fair play to him. Yes, people die in your life. It's what you do. It's what you do. Never remember that somebody died. Always remember that they lived. That's the most important thing. If you ever had anyone sort of disappear in your life, that's the most important thing to take away from that. It's all very well remembering this person is gone, but you've got to remember that they were there in the first place. And I will miss you, Andy. You're a good man. Too good for this place. and you'd conquered many mountains, and one of them managed to get revenge, and you weren't looking. Cheeky fucker. Anyway, back to life. So yeah, welcome all of you to the open house who are still bothering to tune in. What is wrong with you? I don't know. What did I do the title for this this one? The title is a bit odd. Not enough cooks spoil the broth. The reason I've gone with this title is down to the fact is that we
don't have enough cooks in the open house and it spoiled the broth of
we
the show.
live well. I was about to say we live in a world where people are tired of experts, and they just want some guy, some strong man to just do the shit. Well, yeah. Well, you've got a guy right now in the US who is in control of your country while you're going through a pandemic. How's that working out for you at the moment, Drew?
I think it's fine.
Right. Did you want to elaborate? Fine is good enough for you, is it?
Well, yeah. I mean, how we're on the scale of what to what, right? It's a it's a virus.
Okay.
But,
Maybe putting a man in charge of your coronavirus task force who thinks that praying the gay away is a viable option.
Doesn't have the two aren't related.
It does. Well, let's say this. It does warrant concern.
Yes, and Trump has apparently already said, I can't remember the exact words now, but he said something along the lines of, "Oh, coronavirus is gone now."
Yeah, that's not right.
No.
No way. He's talking about it going away via April. Just to let you know, folks, that's probably going to be a little late. Maybe late April, maybe maybe May. Around that sort of time, when the actual temperatures of your part of the hemisphere actually rise to a point where the actual virus is killed. Until then, it's going to be, evolving, maybe changing so it can hang around in hotter temperatures. Maybe.
Yes, and mind you, I mean, you've got American governments being stupid. Our government isn't much better with other things. I mean, we had those floods recently, and Jeremy Corbyn actually put a motion for Parliament, for the government and Parliament, to thank all the volunteers and people who helped out in the floods, and to have a review into where government went wrong with this. And Parliament voted it down. They voted down a motion to thank people for helping in the floods.
At this point, anything that Jeremy Corbyn asks for or says will be said no. Fuck that. They can't give him anything.
Not even a well,
not even
it's not even him.
Not even that.
Should be giving it for. I mean, this motion wasn't even for him. It was for other people.
Okay. You're living in this bizarre world that doesn't exist anymore, and has never really existed, and it's what we call non-partisan objectivism.
Oh,
yeah.
I get it.
This is a bizarre world in which people look at the world and think, you know what, maybe we should think about this. Yeah, that we're not on that planet and have not been on that planet ever. Anytime you thought that we had was a lie, a fabrication, hocus pocus.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Robin. I understand that thing's never existed. It just amazes me that Parliament can't even agree to thank people who actually did something.
Well, that would require Boris Johnson to actually turn up to work
and give a shit.
Yes, and he's already been elected now, so he doesn't have to bother working anymore.
Yes. We've got floods, we've got coronavirus. What are we going to do? Oh, I'm a father again. What is this, your 10th?
Half of them legally? Well, it does, it does show that if you have a look to the right, they have no moral compass. Zero.
Exactly.
It's one thing I've never been... people have asked me, "You're a bit of a lefty, aren't you?" And I go, "No, I'm quite the centrist, to be honest with you." And they kind of go, "Yeah, but you don't really vote for the right." And it's like, yeah, because the right wing aren't in any way remotely centrist. At least the left tries to approach it, even though I'm not really interested. This is the bizarre thing with me. I'm a bit of contradiction. Is that I look to the left and I say to them, "Be more left wing. Stop that. Stop with the centrism business. The right already have that covered." And the right are like, it's like the left want to go to the centre, and the right want to drag the centre to the right. That's generally how I look at politics at the moment. And when you look at it in that way, you're basically watching the left be sort of dragged further and further to the right, without them actually getting anything from it. And I can understand why, because if you have a look at sort of civil rights and whatever like that, the left have got a lot of big wins. And then it's like, what wins to the right are there? Well, always, to be honest. The right always wins. They always have wins. A lot of people have been, they talk about how their representation goes when it comes to government. And the right, or at least what's the best way to describe them? The moneyed class. Those that make a lot of money, those that sell things and buy things, the merchant class or whatever like that, they've got a lot of say. And it's the one place that they have far too much say is in government. They've got way too much say everywhere else. Billboards, adverts, television, newspapers, everywhere. The right have lots and lots and lots of say. In government, they shouldn't have as much say as they do. Because they've already got enough say. The one place that they shouldn't have say is in government, really. And thus, the best way to describe that, of course, is looking to the Trump administration in America right now, or the Boris Johnson administration in the UK. And I say that without saying Conservative, because this is Boris Johnson's government, which is not a Conservative government. This will be a government of swing and sway, based upon public opinion. That I can guarantee you. It's the same with Trump in the US, really, is that, for example, Trump isn't actually interested in whether people live or die. He's actually more interested in how many and where. There's like a cruise ship, from what I understand, that's got scores of people who are suffering from the coronavirus. A lot of people call it the coronavirus. No, coronavirus.
What? Oh, corona. Okay.
Coronavirus. People are saying corona, but that's a breed of drink. Coronavirus is the pronunciation of this. Coronavirus.
It is?
Yeah, coronavirus.
I have never heard that before. I think this is
Look. Coronavirus. Because people mispronounce things all the time, and they hear a word. It's like somebody who says Jan. I'll call you John instead.
Well, that I understand, but I've seen people in media were posting it.
The media. As we all know that the media are the bastions of correct and true, aren't they?
Like
No, they're fucking dumbasses. Why do you think most journalists are alcoholics?
I don't know that they all.
Wow.
That is fucked up, man.
That is fucked up, man. Yes.
He's factually accurate.
No.
Most journalists are alcoholics.
Yeah, I believe you.
No. First of all, coronavirus is the name of the virus, and yes, journalists are alcoholics, and there's a reason for that, is because they have to say things that they don't even believe. And in order for them to be able to live with themselves, they have to drink. They have to drink large. And if they're going to be paid a lot of money, they might as well drink expensive drinks. And that's where I come in.
So is it Boris and Trump?
Well, I used to, back in the day in the 90s, I used to tend bar in a particular point of Canary Wharf. We used to get the Mirror Group boys in. Man, they were hammered. The Daily Mail people, however, were very drunk. Very, very drunk.
Ooh. Wow. Oh, I so wish my mother would stop reading that.
Imagine the idea of the champagne lunch. You've heard of this expression?
Yes.
Yes, that's the Mirror in a nutshell.
Wow.
They are not paid to tell the truth. They are paid a lot to lie.
I know
yeah.
about the new online journalists. They definitely do more of a white lightning lunch.
To be honest with you, all that online journalism has done as far as actual journalism is concerned is make alcoholism virtually impossible. Simply for the price that people are willing to sell themselves for these days. A lot less champagne being on sale these days. Let's say that.
That's why I called it the white lightning lunch.
More like MD 2020. But yeah, we are living in a bit of a weird world right now. We're looking at Mr. D. Trump trying to bullshit us into thinking that he knows more about the coronavirus, than anyone else, and it's really starting to bug everyone as the guy stands there in front of experts, talking about how he knows so much about it. And how incredulous everyone is at how he knows everything about it. Almost to the point of incredulity. Almost to the point is that no one can find credibility in what he says.
I wonder how long until he claims he invented it.
Okay, as far as I'm aware with the coronavirus. Okay. This is my tertiary understanding of this, yeah. I'm not going to say I'm an expert on this sort of thing. Coronaviruses are essentially a suite of different types of virus. Most of them are basically around the common flu. This is the particular virus that everyone is talking about is a novel type of coronavirus. This is it's given a designation of number 19. You can obviously understand as to why. The reason everyone's getting a little freaked out about this one is not because of its death potential. If you are over 65, be worried. If you are under 65, be very less worried. If you are under 45, be incredibly less worried. And anything under that sort of age group, I wouldn't give a shit if I were you. The only people you should really be giving a shit about are relatives that are over 65. So, as far as killing everybody, it's really more the sick and the lame. And obviously the very, very old. If you imagine, if you have a look at medical percentages, and I'm using this phrase very, very strictly. Medical percentage works like this. If you have a thing, there is a 1 in, say, 300, 400, 500 that you will die. That's a good number. That's actually a very good number. If you are, say, having the flu, the common or garden flu that we get, people get inoculations for all the time, you have a reasonably good chance there too. In other words, the difference between this virus and, say, the flu is virtually, they're virtually identical. However, it's a little stronger and it's a little bit more virulent in the sense that more people are willing, or at least it's easy for you to catch. So the death rates of this are no more or less than a common or garden flu that comes around every year, which kills a fuck ton of people. However, it is a lot more contagious, which basically means it's easier to share. So people can catch it easier, But the chances, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, of you actually dying is 2 in 100, which is actually quite a reasonable number.
Actually, it's been bumped up from 2 in 100 to 3 in 100 plus minus 1.
Indeed. However, of course, because of its virulency, everyone is more likely to catch it. That's the big thing. When it comes to influenza, people are more or less likely to catch it because of its virulency, and so you have less and less people able to actually catch it, but you still have a quite high number of people who die when they do catch it, just like in this particular case. The fact that it's more virulent makes it nastier. Now, the most important thing, I'm sure you've seen a lot of this going around on the interwebs and the news in general, is there's a lot of people who are buying up antibacterial hand washes. Now, if you don't know the difference between a virus and a bacteria, it's a bit like the difference between an animal and a seed from a plant. That's probably the best way to describe it. But if you wish to kill a virus, you're going to need a hand wash that is about 80% plus alcohol. That's the way that you kill this stuff. Anything below that, you are just killing bacteria. You are not killing viruses. So if you have a 60% alcohol antibacterial wash and you're rubbing your hands as though you're going to be okay, you're doing nothing. Zero, nada. You may as well just get some soap and water and wash your hands. That's a better option. Stop fucking bulk buying this stuff, you fucking loonies. That's not going to do anything. If you are struggling to get hold of any of this particular thing, you can buy rubbing alcohol, which is the safe version of alcohol. Grab that rubbing alcohol, get some aloe vera gel, whatever the hell you can. You can always find that sort of stuff. Mix those two together, and you've got an absolutely spot-on antibacterial and antiviral wipe. So you just rub your hands with that. Do yourselves a favour, run it under some water as well, because that's really how you get rid of this stuff. It's all very well killing it, but it's a lot easier if you just wash it away from your hands in the first place. That's the big trick.
And with it being a virus instead of a bacteria or fungus, soap works remarkably well.
Please know the difference.
But part of this all started with we've got into this because of Trump thinking he knows more, and because you have Johnson not doing anything. I do sometimes think, is the election of Trump and Johnson really one of these things where you have to think maybe the Victorian era was right and most people shouldn't have had a vote? To be
honest with you, this is this is a generational shift. And you see this as well. You got the same sentiments from the boomers. They can't stand the fact that millennials can vote either. What the fuck do they know?
Oh no.
Yeah, and the thing is the boomers, being the easily propagandized, oh look, it was on the telly, it must be true, kind of people, they're fucking idiots, aren't they? And they'll vote for their interest. And to be honest with you, if you have a look at, for example, the UK, if you're a boomer and you vote Conservative, you've done all right for yourself. Your house prices have risen. You know, you're able to buy and borrow and all that sort of business. I mean, who gives a fuck if your parents have had a hard time? Who cares if your children are unable to have a future? You're all right. That's what matters, isn't it? You're obviously able to get, things that you can buy and throw away and all that sort of business. Who gives a fuck about your kids? You'll be dead.
Good evening.
Good evening, mate.
This is one of the things. This is one of the things that I worry about getting older. That I'm going to be very susceptible to a lot of propaganda as I get older.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You see, is that you're getting older. You're of a different generation to the generation that was easily propagandized. They were easily propagandized in their 20s. They were easily propagandized in their 40s. They were easily propagandized in their 60s. This is when you say a generational thing, it doesn't mean that I'll grow into a point where I'll just believe any fucking media that comes my way. This is specific to a specific genre, if you will, of a generation. a genre that was grown up where the government had just defeated the Nazis, where their parents were lauded as heroes. So
Defeating the
all
Nazis.
of that, yeah, and you're growing up on television where everything in every bit of film that comes out of the 1950s from the UK is about how great we were when we defeated the Nazis. So you can understand how propagandized that particular generation is. That doesn't mean that just because you enter that particular age group, suddenly you are susceptible to media. It doesn't work like that. Your brand of bullshit that kids will look at and kind of go, why did this fucking old man think he's doing that sort of shit, will be unique only to you. Do you get me, Bakura?
Have you
Yeah.
finished?
Yeah, but I did used to listen to Carl, didn't I?
Yes, and now you don't.
It's
So
okay,
you've
everyone was very
grown.
online once upon a time.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has their moments. Back in America, neither we.
Yeah, Sean's been trying to say something too.
Just to add to the stuff that gets rid of viruses, chlorine wash. Basically, it's a mild chlorine solution is used in hospitals, mainly because it's cheap. Jim Backer's idea that my silver solution that only costs $300 a throw is bollocks. And I have a cold.
Are you sure it's a cold?
Yeah.
And not
I
coronavirus?
I got on the bus yesterday and started sneezing. I think
Oh God, mate!
the only person more unpopular than me on the bus was the parent of the kid that was screaming at the front.
Oh,
So we hung her. I mean, because that's what you do up north, you know, hang them. That's too good for them.
My Sean, in the best tradition of the internet, I hope you die from it in a slow, painful death.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, my dad's actually on my case a bit at the moment about the fact that when I get into work, when I come back from work, I should wash my hands thoroughly. And I know he's right because, well, my parents are old. But
Well,
Yeah. The outside is dirty. You should really wash your hands and feet when you get in.
Or just not go out.
Use and wash your hands. Or that.
I'll be honest. I mean, part of what Robin was saying about us old people, and you shouldn't have the vote, stuff like that. You know nothing and all that. Well, when I was young, that's exactly what the old people said to me. So it's not a generational thing. It's a thing that old people have always said. What do you know about life if you haven't lived it? Which
that's all right.
To a point is true, but I mean,
it's a fair thing to say to a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Saying it to a 30-year-old is fucking stupid.
I lived in a hostel and a homeless hostel for a while, and there were people in there who had bullet wounds in them.
Jesus.
They'd come over from Kosovo and Bosnia and things like that. So I would say they have had a life experience that 90% of the UK have not had.
Yeah.
It's life experiences are life experiences.
Yeah, I do think it's a bit rich for someone in their 60s who probably didn't go to university as saying they know more than someone young who is in university.
It depends on what subject they're doing. I mean, you have tremendous life experience, but whether you have experience, do I have the same knowledge as a professor in theology knows about God? Well, probably not.
Yeah, and then there's obviously private schools. Do they really do anything? I mean, fuck, I went to a private school for the last 3 years of my education.
My school was so good it was approved.
Yeah, but my school was actually for boys with special needs. And God, let me tell you about the kind of parents that go there. I remember one Christmas, we had a Christmas reception or service and all the parents came around, and 4 boys, including me, were taken aside for those because we had to take some donations. Now, I didn't know specifically what it was for, whether it was for our school or if it was for a school we were sponsoring in Tanzania. But I always remember this one mother who came up, got her purse out, went to the banknotes, and she said, "What's this for?" And I wasn't sure, but I said what I thought was the most charitable. I think it's for the school in Tanzania. Put the banknotes away and got the coins out. I thought,
wow.
Yeah, I know. That just tells you about the kind of parents of boys at private schools.
It just tells us about that woman.
Well, yeah.
A horrible
Prejudice aside, mate. That's the one thing, when people talk about lived experience, and you sit there and kind of go, well, you don't know what it's like to be her. And you're going, absolutely. Just in the same way as that person doesn't have no clue what it's like to be me. Lived experience is as far as evidence-based, for example, as good as one person's eyewitness account.
Mm-hmm.
Very limited, and only from one particular perspective.
I had a fantastic interaction the other day with a lovely black fella who thought that me saying white people tend to be ignorant on issues of race and intersectionality was a stupid thing to say because I'm a white person, so I have no foresight on that because I'm ignorant of the situation.
Isn't that literally what you just said?
Yes, but it came from a white person.
Oh.
From a white
So
person.
you know that? Whoa.
Oh,
Paradox,
yeah.
man. Paradox.
From a white
So you know
person.
that? Whoa.
Oh,
Paradox,
yeah.
man. Paradox.
From a white
So you know that?
The
Whoa.
trouble
Yeah.
with
Paradox,
racism
man.
is because
Paradox. So you
we
know
haven't
that?
experienced
Whoa.
it.
Paradox,
Racism
man.
is because
Paradox.
discuss it, apparently.
Yeah.
Then you're never going to get the majority on board.
I
To
mean,
enact
apart from
wide-scale
saying-
society change, you need to get the majority to at least give you lip service.
I don't know. We're living in a bit of a funny age right now where everyone's been split up. And people are using their identity as a way to break them up.
I
Yeah.
think it's part of the pigeonholing that goes on. Why do we pigeonhole people? Well, now we know it's so we can put you in that little box and then we can slag off your box.
Well, no, it's not just that. People have a tendency to operate within thought-terminating cliches. Why must I look at you as an individual when I can look at you as whatever it may be? If I can look at you as a man, or I can look at you as a black man, or a white man, or a green man, or orange man, Chinaman, or a woman, or whatever like that, I can make certain assessments based upon that.
Because unfortunately, stereotypes were very useful in the evolution of human society.
I mean, we may have Asperger's syndrome, and well, people tend to think people with Asperger's must be really good at computers and stuff like that. No, I'm shit at it.
No, but what it does mean is you're really well vaccinated.
Oh, the MMR.
Yep.
I
I
was
wanted to confirm my diagnosis, so I went for 12 vaccinations of it.
Yeah, 40 blocks, you were saying about the generation that uses that. Everybody uses that. Every generation, I don't think that's necessarily to a generation, and including the boomers out there, is that, like I said, I've just said the word boomers. What do you think, that the baby boomers invented that thought-terminating cliche? No, the millennials did. So what I'm saying is that the idea of labeling people isn't necessarily something that is a generational thing. One thing that prior generations to previous stick themselves in with, and they, obviously it's there's some motivated reasoning behind that, is that they think that they're better than the last lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They think there's some sort of new, as though there's some sort of inbuilt obsolescence with humans.
Oh yeah, I remember recently Obama was doing a speech, technically shaming cancel culture, and I don't think that's exactly the wording he was using, but he was talking about how if you go on Twitter and start saying you're wrong, it'll feel good, but it doesn't make you right, something along those lines. And now a lot of young people think he's no different from a regular boomer.
Yeah. But if you can imagine that, when did you find out about Greek philosophy?
In the late 60s, but I had posh parents.
No, I don't mean date. I mean in your age.
Oh, in my age.
9 and 10. 8, 9, 10, something like that.
Not sure I've ever really looked at it, frankly.
Well, I mean, if you look at Greek philosophy, when I say Greek philosophy, it's sort of a trick question because Greek philosophy is all philosophy.
Oh.
Because, of course, Greek philosophy generally try to explore all kinds of philosophies.
Yeah.
So if you look at Greek philosophy, you're really talking about the scientific understanding of philosophy. So in other words, when you actually talk about or embark upon Greek philosophy, what you're really doing is looking at the philosophy in a scientific point of view. So you're looking at it in a historic point of view, and thus really not really looking at philosophy so much as in the same way that, you know, people look at religious studies and not just study one religion. So the idea of Greek philosophy is to say philosophy is something to be studied, rather than something to be just simply adhered to in one way or another. In this way, there are plenty of people out there that grow up in this world that are born of people later than them that may know Greek philosophy and ignore it and stick to one particular philosophy for a while and then maybe move on to another and then move on to another, and then finally they come across the idea of Greek philosophy where they're actually thinking about all kinds of philosophies in one. People turn up from that. It's not a generational thing. It's not akin to a particular generation. People arrive upon that at different times in their lives. Things like that. People are different. I mean, it's sad that I have to spell that out to you folks, but yeah, people are indeed different. And they grow up late or early, depending. So when it comes to generational shifts, when we talk about the boomer thing, the reason that we talk about the boomer thing is due to a certain set of circumstances, and that involves a generation that have grown up on television and think that television is reality and reality is less than television.
They're also an incredibly lucky generation, which their parents paid for them and their children paid for them.
Yes, I wouldn't say that their children paid for them so much as they borrowed against their children.
Oh, I was meaning there's a society change when it comes to the model of how we care for old people, because it used to be parents would look after their kids and then look after themselves, and their kids would do it in the home. And then there was a change with the state and the invention of the NHS and social programs where it moved much more towards the taxes of the young people paying for it indirectly. So the financial burden went from the older generation to the younger generation.
But,
yeah,
I
but
mean-
that was in general when it comes to, say, life assurance, life insurance, things like that. Health insurance, even back in the day when it was just private. You know, people always say, I don't want to pay money to somebody else's health insurance. It's like, well, you are doing that if you have any health insurance. It's the same thing when it comes to insurance programs. The young putting in the money are paying that money to old people who have just died.
But the bit I was arguing is that the boomer generation has been very, very well positioned in the financial change that happened in the country.
Well, they didn't
And
have to.
across
They
the
didn't have
planet.
to pay for a bunch of dead parents because half of them were already dead.
I mean, the thing is, you know, you will always pay for your, you pay for the next generation, and you pay for, your taxes go to pay for the previous generation's well-being, or old age pensions and that. But the generation that follows you is going to be paying for your pension. You know, it's just as part of the cycle. It's always unless we change things and basically we go to, what was the film, Blade Runner?
Wait.
What's the film where you reach the age of 30 and you're killed?
Oh, no, it's Logan's Run, mate.
Logan's Run, sorry.
Yeah.
It's age of 40, actually. Age of 40.
Yeah, the thing with Blade
Simon
Runner
York.
was that the synthetics that were made there could only survive longer than 4 years.
Yeah, I just got my films completely messed up. I do apologise.
Unless you go with the original cut of Blade Runner, where that one female character was somehow special and could live a normal life.
No, they didn't.
'Cause-
They didn't. Nobody said that she could live a normal life. Nobody.
Well,
No. There was complete ambiguity as to whether she could.
Oh.
They never told you whether she.
He says she won't live anyway. Do you remember?
Yeah,
When he was
she
working?
won't live, but then
Copper.
again, who does? Is the expression that he uses. And
right,
he-
well, I only saw that ending on when I went to YouTube.
Oh right,
Sorry,
okay.
once.
Okay. Within Blade Runner, it gives you a sense of ambiguity because they don't necessarily say that she won't live past 4 years. What the
Right.
guy says is she won't live, but then again, who does? So that gives you an idea that maybe, perhaps, possibly the 4-year thing is set to her, but you don't know.
Now
He
Bridget, I
then-
feel good.
Yeah, but he says she won't live. He doesn't say she won't live more than 4 years. But then he says she won't live, but then who does? So in other words, he doesn't actually give her a time scale. So that leaves the audience in the idea that she could live forever for all we know. Even though he said she won't live. Nobody will live.
Well,
Either way, I just realised it's all technically irrelevant due to the director's cut anyway.
isn't it left ambiguously open that the Harrison Ford character is also a synth?
No. There is no ambiguity as to whether Harrison Ford is a synth or not. I don't know where anyone gets this idea from.
The tie-in video game.
Oh, is it? I haven't seen the film for absolutely. Well, I haven't watched it this century, so it's well over 20 years.
There is
since I watched it,
zero
you know.
indication from the film that Harrison Ford is a synth.
Yes, I
Besides
know
there-
that's where it came from. It came from the game.
Besides, there's been a sequel since, pretty much proving he isn't.
I'll have to take your word for that.
Have you
I
not seen the new one?
Who
No,
cares? Who cares about the sequel if you can decide to headcanon whether he is or not? Like, I feel this, like, a lot of people got mad at Terminator 3 and 4 because they, it didn't go in the way they were expecting or whatever. It's like, okay, so just watch Terminator 2.
I loved that. The only thing I really loved about that film, because I don't like Arnold as an actor. I think he's a bit
As
wooden.
an actor, I'm sorry, that's sort of a generous term.
Yeah. I think you're really giving short shrift to the
Yeah.
profession there.
As slab of meat attached to celluloid. Yes, carry on.
The best thing I liked about it was the Mercury robot. I did enjoy that. I mean, for its time, it was
The Mercury robot.
Yeah, basically that's how the metal flowed, wasn't it? It was like mercury, or just
The T1000 you're talking about.
if that's what it is. When
You
I
see,
first watched it, I thought
this
that's
is
really
the
good.
generation gap. This numpty here assumes that a metal, if it's liquid, can only be mercury.
No, that's what I was using as an example.
That's right.
That's perfectly
Because you're a
reasonable,
boomer
'cause
idiot.
It flowed like mercury.
Yes, because mercury, of course, is the only metal that can be liquid.
No, lots of metals can be liquid when
What?
they're hot
Name
enough.
them. I dare
Oh,
you.
blimey.
When they're hot enough, all metals flow. That's the great thing about metals.
There we go. There we go. Was that so hard?
I just said that,
Yeah.
but you, as
Gosh.
usual, you'd missed it.
You've already
You
done the
jumped.
mercury thing, mate. The implications
Yeah.
are already there. You should be ashamed of yourself, and
No,
I have to do
made
it for you.
quite clear that I said I enjoyed it because of the. I mean, I wasn't even talking about the fact that it was metal. I was talking about the fact that the way it flowed all together. When I saw that film back in the 80s, 90s, because
The
that
80s,
had been-
90s. You mean the 90s?
I can't remember when it was made. All
The
right,
90s.
thank you.
Due to the fact that there was actual CGI. That gives the game away, motherfucker. It's like 10 years. Do you know how
Okay.
long? Do you know how long 10 years is in the world of computing? Have you any clue? I mean, it's the difference between a Cray supercomputer and your own home computer. You know, it's a small difference between, like, the 1980s and the 1990s as far as computing terms is concerned. Seeing as, like, every single year and a half, things are doubled. But I'll let that slide. Like I let that slide.
Like you let everything slide. You
Yeah,
let anything
that was
slide.
there was no sliding at all there, but you know.
What was people's problem with Terminator Dark Fate? Because I bought that yesterday mostly just to keep my collection intact.
Was this
but
the
I
new
didn't-
one
didn't
that
think it was
came
bad.
out?
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad.
Okay,
Everyone's
okay,
making
okay.
out.
Has
The-
a woman in it?
No, that wasn't the problem. That wasn't the problem. Actually, I think it was due to the Sarah Connor's fan service, to be honest. I think
What do you
that's
mean?
where it went wrong.
What do you mean?
Because it was fucking boring.
Oh.
If you... Okay, the lady who played Sarah Connors, I'm trying to remember her name.
Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton basically dialed in her performance. Let's be frank.
All right. Well,
She
I was
just
watching it
wasn't
today.
there.
I was still rather entertained by it.
She just wasn't there for it. Arnold was not there for it. They were there to get paid.
Yeah.
And you could feel it. Maybe I'm... Okay.
Fair, Arnold acted no differently than he acted in the others.
Okay, if you are somebody who has ever... Okay, if you ever somebody who's listened to a mix from a DJ, for example, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You may be inspired by what you've heard. You may enjoy it, all that sort of thing. If you mix records and understand how records are mixed, you listen to how the DJ mixes differently to somebody who does not. I think it's very similar to the understanding of actors and acting and production in general. When I look at the sort of like the prequels for Star Wars, for example, I look at it and think the director didn't really bother when it came to the live action stuff. It all felt like first scene stuff. All you've got to do is go to the actual documentary about the film, and you are proven correct. Basically, George Lucas is a terrible director. I'm going to say it again. George Lucas is a terrible director.
Those are amazing.
Now, I'm sure a few of you are in shock, so let that sink in for a second, and I will say it again just to reiterate. George Lucas is not a very good director, even as far as terrible. Now,
He's done quite well at it, though.
if you get him in a rush, you end up with like Star Wars, fourth episode Star Wars: A New Hope. Get him in a rush, and he doesn't do half bad. Let's be honest, though, Empire was the better one, and he didn't direct that shit. Okay. And it's the same thing when it comes to the likes of Linda Hamilton, who has done nothing. Zero. Nada. Since the Terminator series. You know why she's not very good? There's the truth. There we go. There we go. Shall we say it again? Linda Hamilton is not a very good actress. She's just not. She's just not. She was okay when she was a young lady in the 1980s doing a movie. Now she's older and she's done fuck all. Yeah.
I think what you mean is she's very good at playing Sarah Connor, but
She
that's
is
as far as it
very
goes.
good at playing an actress that lives off residuals. That's what Linda Hamilton is very good at.
Wow.
Has somebody pissed you off this week, mate?
What? No. I'm just saying. She's
Have
63.
you run out of green stuff?
Look, this is a lady.
I think you need to go and smoke something.
This is the lady in her late 60s, yeah? Okay, and she's done it. Look, have you seen this film? Have you seen the latest Terminator film?
I have. The last film I watched at the cinema was
Forget about
Pan's-
you then.
Pan's
Bakura,
Labyrinth.
Bakura. Be honest.
Yes.
Be honest. Was she dialing in her performance? There we
I'd
go.
say her personality was a
I
bit...
don't even need to wait for an answer. The pause is long enough.
I'd I'd say she didn't really have much of a different emotion throughout the entire film.
All she was there for was fan service. She did not add to the film.
Let's be honest, she's no Jodie Whittaker, is she?
And the thing is that in the original Terminator movie, she wasn't the star there in the first place.
No. Yeah.
She was a low-end actress who nobody had really heard about beforehand, and to be honest with you, most people, including Mr. Cameron, didn't really care. The main actor was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But he only ever done something 1 or 2 films at that time, surely.
That is right, indeed. But he was the meat thing, and they wanted action movie meat and guy with muscles. Who was second in that? It wasn't fucking Linda Hamilton. I can tell you that. Yes, she was. She wasn't even a femme fatale. She was a second. She was. If you imagine, yeah, the idea of a lady who was being hunted by some sort of nasty creature or whatever like that in some horror movie, they're usually the star. This is one of the reasons why Terminator was so different, is that the lead person who was being persecuted by the big nasty wasn't the lead. So the Sarah Connor thing was sort of thrust upon her. And she's never actually got out of the Sarah Connor thing. If you know anything about this actress, do you know how much work she's done since Terminator?
I can look up her IMDb.
Yeah, you
Gonna
can.
get, like 5 movies.
Yeah.
I mean,
5?
No, to be honest with you...
she's no Sigourney Weaver, is she?
Okay, most actresses will do 1 to 2 movies a year. She's doing 1 every 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, that sort of thing. Okay, she's not doing a lot. She's not a great actress. And one of the things she actually did, she worked. Let's say this: she did a job in 2009 for Terminator Salvation, just for a voiceover.
Oh, I've never seen Salvation.
Yeah.
But you're saying she was in that?
Oh mate,
For a voice, rather?
It gets worse. Unaccredited.
Uncredited.
For Terminator Salvation. Terminator Salvation. Sarah Connor, voice of, unaccredited. That's fucked up, isn't it?
That's harsh.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she even agreed to do this one.
Between 1984, when she did The Terminator, she did 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3 movies in between that and Terminator 2. 3. Between 84 and 91. 3 moments in film. After getting the Sarah Connor role in Terminator, she got Black Moon Rising, King Kong Lives, and Mr. Destiny.
Never heard of any of those.
Exactly. Well, after Terminator 2, must have got famous then. Nope. We've got Silent Fall. You remember that one, yeah? Remember Silent Fall? No? Okay.
Weirdly, I'm sure I've heard the name of it.
How about Separate Lives? Remember that one?
Uh-huh.
A psychological thriller directed by David Madden? No? How about Dante's Peak?
Yeah.
Ooh, I have heard of that.
Yes, a secondary role in Dante's Peak. How about Shadow Conspiracy?
Not heard of that one.
0. Charlie Sheen got a fucking role. Donald Sutherland got in there. But no, nothing for her. How about The Secret Life of Girls?
I have heard of that one.
Skeletons in the Closet. Smile. Missing in America. These are all... We're already in the 2000s. The Kid and I. And then Broken. That's it. This is for a lady who was in AAA status. Terminator 2. That's you done. You can do whatever the fuck you like, and she still couldn't manage a role. Weird, isn't it? So this is a lady that's been riding on coattails all her life when it comes to movie roles. This isn't somebody who gives a shit about the business. They got themselves a position, they got themselves an actor role, and then that was it. There's two types of actresses out there. There's people who act, and there's people who just want the money.
But some people just can't shit at acting. They might love the job, but they might be
Yeah.
crap actors.
No offense to Linda Hamilton, but you were really not there for the acting. No offense.
Well, you say no offense, but you've been going at her for about 15 minutes now.
I'm not saying she's a bad person or all that sort of thing yet. She just wasn't into the film game. This isn't somebody who likes the work. I know people who like the work. Those people do 3, 4, 5 movies a year.
Like Scarlett Johansson, for example, who done 4 starring roles in 1 year.
Yeah. Say what you like about her. She likes the work.
Oh yeah, I saw her.
And it ain't just about the money. Girl likes the work. She likes the work.
Saw her recently in Jojo Rabbit, and she was really funny in that.
I'll tell you what.
I've
And I'm an old fart when it comes to this sort of business, and I'll say this, yeah. Scarlett Johansson, all that sort of thing, yeah. Give her a few more years, yeah, and you're gonna have a lot more respect for her later on. Same thing when it comes to, what would be a... Oh, what was... who's taken Scorsese... Who's Scorsese taken under his wing? No. Actor. Yeah. What's his name? He did Titanic. DiCaprio, yeah. DiCaprio fell into that role for a long time. Really good actor, okay? Ended up in loads of heartthrob roles.
That's when he was really young.
Yes, because he was a young man and he's going to be in the heartthrob role, yeah? Scarlett Johansson is a very good actress who loves acting and enjoys the actual process and stuff like that, yeah? And she's going to be considered a really good actress later on in life.
Yeah, I mean, I saw her in Ghost in the Shell. I've got Ghost in the Shell because I'm a big fan of the original Ghost in the Shell. And I really liked her in that. I thought she really did.
I personally think she was wasted in that role, but there you go.
Sorry?
I think she was wasted in that role, to be honest with you.
Well, if you look at the original Ghost in the Shell, she's pretty much acting it very similar to the original character.
Yeah, but I say that, but the script is completely nondescript to the actual original Ghost in the Shell play.
Given that the Ghost in the Shell is an anime movie, I'd rather amaze you watch it at all.
Okay, Ghost in a Shell is sort of like anime fucking history, dude. I'm not an idiot. Just because, look, it's like
knowing the name Naruto, watching Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah. To be honest with you, the whole Ghost in a Shell live action thing was basically RoboCop.
Well, yeah, Ghost in the Shell was literally Japanese RoboCop.
It was a Japanese version of RoboCop. That's the only way to describe it. They ruined the whole thing. There was no plot there that was considered Ghost in a Shell.
First 5 minutes of the film, they explain everything. What the fuck?
American audiences. But yeah, what I'm saying is that when it comes to some actresses have sort of fame thrust upon them because of talent, and some have it thrust upon them because of circumstance. Linda Hamilton's particular thing, it's circumstance. And so the last film that came out, yeah, she dialed in her performance because that's all she knows. Her only role was to be good-looking woman in action movie. That was her job.
What about Sigourney Weaver then?
Sigourney Weaver is a much more thought out person. She's got a lot more range.
I think you meant to use the word talented.
No, I don't think she's necessarily any more or less talented, but she has more range. When it comes to acting, it's about taking yourself out of your own position and deciding to put yourself into another. And it's not actually that difficult. Range,
Yes, but
however...
brought out person.
Yeah, range is about sales. You can try all you like, but being comfortable within that position, that takes talent. Working out a way to be a different person, that's Dustin Hoffman shit. Yes, I've got a lot of respect for Dustin Hoffman. Sorry. I know some people have made... Dustin Hoffman? Who the fuck is... What? Yeah. No, Dustin Hoffman's got a lot of range.
And he was caught up in the Me Too scandal, but
Tootsie.
Well, I actually,
Tootsie
bizarrely...
was one of its films.
Bizarrely, I don't even use that as a good example. I actually used Hook from the 1990s as a good example.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
He is unrecognizable as Hook.
Yeah.
oh, did he play Hook?
Yes,
Yes,
I mean,
he-
when you think he
Yeah,
was...
he played
I
Captain
mean,
Hook.
his first film I remember was The Graduate. And to go from The Graduate, which was, wimpy kid, ends up banging the MILF, to the unrecognizably evil Captain Hook. That's not a bad, change of characters.
Yeah, but the thing is with Hook is that he could have been any role, and for him to actually, this is why I think it's a great. This is why I have a lot of respect for the guy. He could pick any role he liked, comfortable role. However, he had to be somebody completely different.
Just so I'm clear, Hook is the one with Robin Williams.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And the captain there, the Captain Hook, is Dustin Hoffman. And,
Yeah.
and unless you actually look to the credits, you wouldn't know.
No, I didn't.
That's
Tell me
how
what
good that man is. That's how good he is. There is no fucking way you would confuse Linda Hamilton. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to range. Talent. Linda Hamilton can play Linda Hamilton in a few roles. Linda Hamilton can play Sarah Connor. But that's it.
Do you think... Hang on a minute. Do you think...
Do you-
No, I had to check if I had the mic turned on. Do you think it's harder for women to play more diverse roles?
No.
And I don't mean for them to act more diverse
No.
roles. I mean, do you think they're offered?
No. None of those things. None of
Yeah.
those things. There are plenty of diverse roles for women, and there are women out there that are very, very talented that are able to actually accomplish that. That is my assessment upon the acting fraternity, as far as I see it.
It's always
It's sort of your job, isn't it?
What I'm
Well,
saying is there are equally the amount of men and women who are able to jump into roles that they would not necessarily consider comfortable and pull it off well. There are more talented people that are not prominent as far as acting, and I can see them just the supporting actors roles. There are people in the SA fraternity who could do serious, high-profile roles at a drop of a hat. They just don't have the contacts. They don't have the agent. Whatever.
Especially with English actors, because no talent agent has any assistance anymore. Because all of our acting is in London, and with London renting prices, nobody can afford to be a agent's assistant. So agents just give out jobs to people they already know.
But there's also more than this. I mean, when it comes to female-led films, I mean, in superhero genre, of course, there's this whole thing about now push for more female superhero leads. But also, just women as the leads in big action films at all, they've tend to not been doing very well historically. But that's mostly because every time that studios hear a female-led action role, they immediately don't give it a big budget, and because it doesn't get a big budget, it doesn't tend to do very well, and so they immediately think, almost because it was a woman. You're going through a big paradoxical shift there.
Yes and no. I don't think Captain America was undercut. Was it?
Captain Marvel, you mean?
Captain Marvel, whatever, sorry.
No, absolutely. In fact, interestingly, I did actually look at the box office gross for Marvel movies once, and when you think of the title individual movies, and I'm talking about not the crossover films like Avengers or Avengers Ultron, stuff like that, but you look at ones that are actually like Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk,
Reverse
stuff like that.
Bakura. Reverse that. The Avengers was always the primary.
All right, yeah, but my point is I'm talking about box office gross, and when you're talking at single character films, they come to about 500 million or something. Black Panther, 2 billion. Captain Marvel, 1 billion. So those films, the black guy and the woman, grossed more than the individual, than the other guys with their individual movies.
I mean, that could be down to a certain guilt marketing as well. There is the white guilt marketing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And, you've got to like take half of that off and just kind of go, oh, look, I said it when Wakanda came out. I said, congratulations to the producers of Wakanda, showing us all that an all-black action movie can be just as mundane as a white action movie.
Yeah, but even the actual getting people to go see it, I mean, both Black Panther and Captain Marvel had some sort of Indiegogo campaigns or something like that to get children from...
Yeah.
For Black Panther, it was for black children.
Sponsoring the poor to pay for cinema tickets.
Exactly. It was just getting Indiegogo so people from impoverished backgrounds, in the case of Black Panther, black children from impoverished backgrounds, or girls from impoverished backgrounds.
Indeed, Bakura. And as we all know, before those particular movies, this sort of thing had never happened before. Right?
Yeah, I know that sort of thing just happens. It just means that's a very convenient way.
It's the same thing as like every single movie that comes out of Disney has a McDonald's sort of tie-in. It's just the way of things.
Yep.
And yes, there are kids who are anywhere to go to a movie and they're really in love with this particular action movie figure, whether it be Pirates of the Caribbean or fucking Star Wars or whatever like that. A bunch of fucking actors come down to try and do a bit of virtual signaling and make sure that everyone loves them because they've talked to a person who is going to die in 3 months.
But all I was trying to say was that it was no surprise that these Black Panther and Captain Marvel got lots of more money than the other movies, just simply because, well, you didn't have that for the other movies because you didn't need it or care.
Yeah, you know. It was a lot of the time. I don't necessarily think that these movies get the money that they do because they're great movies.
I'll be honest, Black Panther would have stunk if it was filled with white actors. It was just an awful film. It wasn't it?
No, it wasn't that it was an awful film, but it was really generic.
I'll say this.
In my opinion,
very generic. It was an
film.
action movie with black people in it.
Yeah. When I saw it in the cinema, I thought it was just bland and boring. When I got it on DVD and watched it the second time, I liked it a bit more than I did in the cinema. But it is still just an average movie.
I don't know.
Yeah, at that point in time, Marvel was super confident. They don't need to do astounding movies anymore.
I know.
They were coasting along, just waiting to get to Infinity War because that's the big one. Now they've done Infinity War, they have to start trying again. That's why Homecoming was actually quite a good movie, and Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and the other standalone ones that I can't remember the name of at the certain time been talking, weren't very good because they were just coasting movies in some way. Although saying that, they are better than the early Marvel movies because they have got better at making the movies.
Either way, Brie Larson got a lot of shit, which she can handle, but got a lot of shit for not smiling in the trailer. And when I saw that, I was like, well, people saying that, I was like, what the fuck, mate?
I'm sorry,
because we live in a sexist society.
Sorry, Sean?
Well, I couldn't give a monkeys if she's smiling or not. What,
No, neither did I.
I mean, it's about
confused.
context.
Well, I was more confused just because, well, hang on, you're saying you're not liking it because she's not smiling in the trailers? None of the other characters, none of the male characters really smile, because in superhero movies, you got to look strong and tough, and that is usually about not really showing much emotion, apparently.
Well, Thor's the only character to smile in the trailers.
Does anybody here remember an actor called Peter Wingard?
Nope.
Nope.
He played back in the, I think it was the 70s. He played
Well, that's why we don't know.
a TV character called Jason King. who was
Oh!
a private investigator, exceedingly camp.
Was he the guy with a mustache and a big apple?
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Yes.
mum used to watch that.
The very first time, I mean, I'd seen Peter Wingard, but I was also into Dracula at that time. Yeah, I was young teenager. I was below the age of 14, which was the minimum limit to go see the theatre production. And theatre productions don't normally have an age limit, but this did.
Ooh.
Peter Wingard played Count Dracula. I absolutely shit myself.
Did he do the Hungarian accent?
He did. He was perfect. Seriously, excellent at the position. And this is a guy who, I mean, I remember watching him in the 60s, mincing around the stage, on the set, on the TV, and I mean mincing in the full word, gay stereotype mince. And to see this guy change from this, lovely, I like you, you're nice to, come here, my darling. I mean, theatres, I love theatre. I will be honest, it is like Robin is into film, I'm into theatres. Because I just feel you have to get it right. You can't go cut, we'll do the scene again.
Unless you're Rick Mail and Adrian Edmondson doing Bottom of the Live State.
That's different. I mean, those two, when they go off on their ad-libs, we're talking about somebody I love.
Rick Mail.
Oh, God, yes. Although I was more a fan of Adrian Edmondson, because he had different talent. Ade Edmondson could ad-lib better than Rick Mail.
I saw him last year, I think it was, because my town had the production of a play with him and Nigel Planer called Vulcan 7, where they play two actors basically waiting to do their scene in a film.
He's supremely talented. I mean, the pair of them were. You look back for, was it the Dangerous Brothers? I mean, they would beat the living crap out of each other.
Yeah.
And Bottom for me was the best slapstick since the Keystone Cops era.
Oh, I've mentioned before, my mum was a production assistant at the BBC, and one of the things she worked on was the young ones. I really have to ask her more about that, because she did tell me a story about one time on set, and I can't remember what the bloody hell it was now.
Oh,
Did she give you the word of warning you keep away from Jimmy Savile?
No, she wasn't on his. She did work on Blue Peter, interestingly enough, though. I know one of her jobs was to make sure the letters that they got sent in were acceptable.
I thought you were going to say she
one of the-
supplied Richard's cocaine.
It was just that one of the recent things in the Jimmy Savile stuff from last year that came out is the fact that it was actually quite widely known in the BBC.
Yeah.
Well, it
wasn't recorded on paper, but the amount of people that turned around and said, "Yeah, I knew. Just don't take your kids when Jimmy Savile's around because he will do stuff with them."
there was the thing with John Lydon back in the day when he was still when the Sex Pistols were kicking off, and he made comments about Jimmy Savile, and it is 78. That's a different subject entirely. The investigation that has just concluded in the last month about Cyril Smith and people like that, and they're going, well, yeah, actually, David Steele, yeah, well, I knew about it, but it happened before he was an MP, so it didn't matter. What the fuck?
Oh, my dad had a very interesting.
Judge, I didn't kill the guy on the way to the meeting to determine whether or not I got enough votes to be an MP. But since I'm an MP now, it doesn't matter the fact I killed someone literally an hour ago. I wasn't an MP yet.
It's horrible. But the thing is, that investigation did not include. It literally excluded certain people. You know, whether or not there's a parliamentary sex gang. That was specifically disbarred from the investigation, which is grotesque.
I remember when that whole Operation U-Tree thing was happening, my dad had a bit of an interesting theory about why you've had all these men of this particular age seem to have this particular attitude, and it was, well, his idea was, if you look at the whole hippie movement at that time, which they would have, when they were young, they would have probably been a part of, that was all about free love, but no one really defined what free love meant.
Well, there was you can look this up on the interweb. There was a group called the Paedophile Information Exchange.
Ooh, I heard about
PI it was called, and they were open. They were they were literally trying to change the law so that the age of consensual sex,
There's one
so
of
they
those.
could legally bang kids.
Yeah, there's NAMBLA, the North American Boy Love Association. I
Stop.
believe they still exist.
Does that exist now?
I'll look.
True.
But it's
Don't
my
confuse people into thinking that that's actually real.
What?
So I suppose the biggest
You know
question
how
is,
susceptible and idiotic my audience are.
It was
I
like
love you,
10
by the way, guys.
look, can we just answer the most important question? Is Sargon of Akkad a member? Or
Not
does it depend
officially.
upon the organisation?
Not officially.
He was a member, but they collapsed.
I remember during
To quote Sargon, it depends on the child.
Yes, and interestingly, obviously he had to defend that during his sole attempt to be an MAP, and he was going on saying how I agree with the age of consent. I believe the age of consent is 18. Carl, in the UK it's 16. You can't even get that fucking right.
He
Man's
said
an
it was
emba-
15.
The man's an embarrassment. I mean, don't get me wrong. I
I
mean,
don't hate women, how's your father? I've just met too many.
The weird thing with Carl's whole comments is
I'm a
that
boy.
it is true.
You're not
that
a woman,
various-
you're my love.
I'm a boy.
Yes.
It is true, but in various countries have various different ages of consent. I just learned today that in Germany it's 14, and if you want to make an argument about the potential lowering of it, you have some precedents. Maybe that's fine, but not something like a 5-year-old. Oh, don't go at that. Mate.
I would personally.
When we're
The other shit's
talking
like-
about paedophilia, the word can really grate a man.
Well, not if you've got a bigger bag of sweets. No, I'm
No,
not.
that's come.
I'm happy with the age at 16. The reason I is I think it's France has the
14.
minimum is 14, but there is a caveat with that the age difference between the two people has to be less than 3 years.
It's all a bit
I think
weird.
3 years. Basically, a 14-year-old can go to bed with a 17-year-old, but a 14-year-old can't be bedded by a 20-year-old. I think.
I think that's Spain, actually.
I think that's
Is
an
it Spain?
American thing.
No, America. There are certain states they don't have an age. They
Apparently-
can get married at 12.
Well, if you have a look into Christian doctrine, it is literally about women who are able to bleed. So it's really down to whether the girl can have a child, whether they're breedable.
NAMBLA still exists. It's just very diminished
The
membership.
North American Man Boy Love Association.
That's correct.
North American.
I mean, ultimately, it's fucking grooming.
Yeah.
You know, that's the bit Carl couldn't get
Invented
hold
by
of.
John Stewart.
Pardon?
Yes, NAMBLA was invented by John
John
Stewart
Stewart.
as a joke organisation for paedophiles.
I do remember the Daily Show did do a whole NAMBLA thing a lot of the time.
Hmm.
They would make this. Actually, the way they would do it, they would mention a number of organizations and then jokingly refer to them as NAMBLA.
Yeah.
To which there was this once compilation edition that was done, to which it then cuts to John Live saying, I should say the Daily Show has no connection with the National American Man-Boy Love Association, or UNICEF.
I love his American accent. It's so fun.
I wasn't even trying to do an American accent.
Well, obviously.
I would hate to hear you trying to do one.
He was doing Mid-Atlantic.
No, that's him saying he wasn't
accent
trying.
That was purely
All right, how about,
was
how
him
about,
trying
how about this
like
one?
he
Is
wouldn't
this is
believe.
trying to be close to John Barrowman. Is this
Oh,
anywhere
it's
near?
even worse. No, stop.
I
Stop,
thought
please.
That was true.
Let me save you embarrassment.
But you sound like a bad American actor trying to do an English accent while trying to do an
benefit of-
American one on
You
top.
sound like an American accent done by an English person pretending to have an American accent.
Well, let's just listen to Drew then.
Has he got an American accent, you reckon?
Actually, American.
Should do.
Drew,
Everyone
are
should
you
listen
from
to
America?
Not everything.
Drew's
I know, it's a
actually
bit
a
hard
Russian
to see.
boss.
Ooh, oh my god.
Yeah, your accent sucks.
That sounds American.
I love it when Americans talk about British accent as though we're the ones with the
You must
accent.
vote for Bernie Sanders. I am Russian bot.
Always the fucking- Everybody has an accent.
So, Drew, are you looking forward to having a Biden president?
Yeah. Not really.
Really?
It's gotta be-
Well,
Is it
no,
not
because it's gonna
gripped
be
you? Is it
I don't really think it's going to happen. See, 'cause it's
is
gonna
it not inspiring you? Is it not?
Yeah. Well, because it's not going to happen. See, because it's going to be Trump for 4 more years. So it's
So,
inspiring.
are you saying that Trump would beat Biden in an election?
Yes, Robin.
You
I am
seem to
saying that
be-
the possibility exists and is quite real. It is not a certain thing, but I would say better than even odds.
Well, you seem to be
slightly
saying that the Democratic Party, who are wholesale, lock, stock, and barrel, sucking on the toes of
Yes.
Mr. Biden here, have got it wrong.
Yes, that is what I'm suggesting. What
Are
I'm
you telling
suggesting
me
is
that a left-wing party, or at least a party that projects itself to be left-wing, by
Mhm.
ignoring the left-wing
Mm,
and going for, let's call them centrist,
yes.
it is basically turning the left wing off
Right.
of it and making
Yes,
it a
but
party that
this
is to be
The-
ignored
The rub.
because they're basically faux left wingers pretending to get the right wing to like them.
Well, I think it's all in a matter of interpretation. So the right wing of the party of America has always been much more organized when it comes to electioneering and levering the powers to serve them. The
Even
centrist
leveraging.
Democrat.
Even leveraging.
Yes, leveraging these.
There is
levers.
no word of levering. I just thought
Right.
that, you know.
Okay. The centrist Democrat view is that everyone deserves a stake, and
billionaires.
including your enemies. See, this is sort of where the rub comes in. So, because they've been trying to reunite basically the entire party and country in opposition to the right, because the right is better at electioning than they are, and that's what they need to stop them. But in order to do that, they have to essentially lie, or forget conveniently certain things and don't mention certain things in order to get the broader left, who would ordinarily sit out the election, to sort of go along with it. And then the center sort of understands that they're not really going to get their needs met, and they sort of nod along and they go with it. But we have the fear of a true believer now, and it's showing the reality of the situation, which is that a party that has Dennis Kucinich and John Kerry in it can't hold, because it doesn't make sense. There's no internal logic that binds those two people together. So the party is making it clear to everyone who is not in it that if you do not support Joe Biden, then you can go pound sand and do whatever you want. Because what else are you going to do? Vote for Trump?
Not just that, it's also a party that's presenting itself as the one.
Your lady wife is saying something, but we can't hear it.
It's okay, she's only a woman.
Oh, you literally just stole my bit.
Hi, everybody.
Get
Hi.
hello.
Hello, Jamie.
How you doing there, baby?
I'm doing lovely, thank you.
Are you sick and tired of this guy? Are you thinking about getting yourself a new man?
No, I'm not.
One who can admire your beauty.
That's not his fault.
It is not his fault.
Flight, then.
I never said it was his fault, but that doesn't mean it has to be your fault. Just because it's not his fault, it doesn't mean you have to be to blame.
Well,
That's what I'm saying to you.
The headache. Shit happens. So
Should we blame the patriarchy?
yeah, it's always the patriarchy.
It's always the
Always and
patriarchy.
forever.
So I might as well cancel me flight then, Jamie.
It's always my fault because I have a penis.
I've cancelled the church.
What, that little thing?
Why I have a headache. But
I've got some headache tablets.
Yes, they taste of cum.
just that, I mean, Democrats have also for a long time tried to, present themselves as the working class party, the party for, the disenfranchised, yet, so many people are not having their needs met by the things that they pass, and, they're told, it's just not possible, it's just not possible. But then, Democratic leaders vote for, military spending bills and, things that shoot, Nancy Pelosi's voted for most of the funding that Trump has put up there, and she's one of the leaders of the Democrats. So it's difficult. There's going to be a split, and
There's a nuance, is what you're saying, really.
I mean, the problem is, how do you get rid of Trump?
You win the argument. They haven't.
He doesn't have an argument, though. That's the thing with Trump. He just has lies.
You can't do any better than me, and so far they haven't.
I'm sorry. I mean, Trump on the coronavirus. We've got it licked. No, you haven't. How do I know? Oh, I have a hunch.
Hey,
Wanker. You have experts. You have you have leaders in the field of medicine, but you don't listen to them because you've had a hunch.
Are we back on Trump?
Silver.
Unfortunately.
Trump is the most intelligent president to ever exist in the whole of America. He is so intelligent that he in fact invented the coronavirus, and his coronavirus, he deployed it in Wuhan as a form of trade warfare.
We almost had this with the Palin.
He makes Palin intelligent.
Hey guys,
I don't think I'd ever say that before, but he
let's
does.
flip the script. Let's talk about what a great president Joe Biden's going to be and how excited we all are going to be for when he beats.
Okay. Let me just save all up my
hands around the
excitement.
campfire singing "Kumbaya."
Yeah, let me just give you all the excitement I have for Joe Biden.
I agree with what you're saying, except for one thing.
Yeah, my Joe.
He's got to be more honest and decent than Trump.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know. Well, it's sort of a matter of degrees, though, is the thing, because Joe Biden has
Anything's a fucking improvement, mate.
multiple times about himself and his accomplishments, just like Trump has. He has questionable contacts with females, just like Trump has. He might possibly be a racist. Sorry, big difference in those two consonants.
He's not a
Wow.
He's not a
It's like-
racist. He's just willing to talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The difference is, though, Trump is a proven racist
I
and
don't know.
rapist, whereas Biden
Yeah, but they did
is
not
just
until
creepy.
after he was elected. Do you want to give it time? We'll see what comes out.
Well, let's be fair. I think. I mean, it's already. If there's worse to come out, I'd be surprised, because unless they're waiting for, basically the Republicans have the ammunition, and we're just waiting to see who we're going to shit on.
October surprise.
Yes.
I'm telling you, if they actually put this guy at the top of the ticket, it's going to be creepy Uncle Joe Biden ads from June to November.
Yeah.
It's going to be constant, and
It's just going to be him unsolicited as he hugs various young women.
yeah, that'll be the entire ad. That'll be it. some music, Joe Biden
Yeah.
sniffing lady's hair, and then unconsensual manic,
It's there. Kids.
and
It's worse. It's kids.
paid for by Trump 2020 at the bottom, and that's it.
You do realise you're going to get Trump for another 4 years, don't you?
Nothing to be done, man. It's the DNC establishment has chosen to freeze candidates that have the wrong opinions out of the race. So reap the whirlwind.
I think it's pretty good that somebody turned around and using that way of using various capitalizations in random spots. And it goes, sorry, we were mean to you, but I need insulin. I think that's sort of sums it up, really.
Yeah.
Is that there are a lot of people out there that kind of go, I would vote for Bernie, however, his fans are a bit on the nasty side, so I'm going to decide. Well, I mean, I did put it down myself. I said, yeah, I was really interested in Medicare for all, but then I met a Bernie bro, and now I'm a fascist. Because that's how it fucking works, isn't it?
Well, that's the Carl Benjamin argument, isn't it?
If you just treated me with a little bit more respect, then I wouldn't completely just destroy my own principles.
The guy didn't do it. Someone else did.
You know, it's weird because of that whole Bernie bro thing. When it was Hillary versus Trump, I honestly thought Trump was going to win the election, partly because of the whole Bernie or bust thing that was going on. Sure, I know there's more to it than that, but still.
It's kind of funny because
Have I said this before? Maybe I have, or maybe I haven't, but I'll say it anyway. The thing is that the whole Bernie bro thing, or the Bernie or bust thing, this isn't new to the Democrats. They're a terrible bunch when it comes to being uncompromising. And at least in my historical perspective, the first people that were proposing that sort of idea were the Hillbots. This was an arm of the Hillary Rodham Clinton department who would vote for anybody except Hillary. So when Barack Obama ended up getting the primary, they were looking to actually vote for McLean Palin as a ticket. Because apparently he was
get
racist.
What I wanted, so therefore I'm going to act like a 2-year-old child and sit and sulk.
Yeah, it's I'm going to punish you with 4 years of this douchebag. And this is why people turn around to such folks and kind of go, well, you obviously are somebody who is suffering from privilege. And the question to that is, what the fuck? Why would you say that? I said, what? If you're prepared to take this man for 4 years, you've got nothing to lose.
Haven't they heard of ADT?
Yeah,
Any damn
you're
Democrat?
able to survive this. You're all right, Jack. You're okay. You can live with 4 years of this douchebag. But there's people there in America that have died because of this douchebag. And that involves children too.
Why do you children in cages?
No. Children dying. Not just being put in cages, but dying themselves.
Oh, I was meaning ones in cages dying.
Yeah, I mean, people can turn around and kind of go, oh, well, drone strikes Obama. Yeah, drone strikes Trump. Yeah, he hasn't.
The drone strikes haven't gone down, they've only increased year on year.
Yeah. Although it's almost as if the person who is in charge of the military isn't in charge of the military as much as people think.
I have an amazing clip from I think it was 60 Minutes. They had Jed Johnson, spelled J-E-H. Who's the Secretary for Homeland Security, and for a while he was the chief lawyer at the Pentagon, and it fell to him to essentially the drone strikes for the CIA, I believe. I forget which agency, but and he commented on how because it's such a quickly, changing landscape, and you may only have the opportunity to have the strike for only 15, 20 minutes, it becomes very difficult to actually say no to these strikes, because, who really wants to be responsible for, potentially, ending the life of an American citizen down the line. And, it just takes so much time to really go through all of the legal implications of it. And so, we really
you need somebody competent in charge of the military. You do
So
need.
creating a forever enemy is better than creating a potentially dead American.
Well, the problem with the military is that they're very much a quarter-leaning people. They lean quarter to quarter, and they're looking at the enemy now. And it's like a politician looks at an enemy that a military person would look at an enemy and kind of go, those people might be my friend 5 years down. That's the difference between a politician and a military man. A military man only sees enemies. They don't see potential allies 5 years down the line.
From a military man's point of view, there used to be one of the
Before you continue, I'd just like to say this. You're probably looking at this from a soldier's point of view. I'm thinking about this on a general's point of view. Whose job is to make sure that the nation.
However, I'm also thinking of it. Yes, I accept fully your statement. However, I'm also looking at it from both, because I can pull myself back and look at a foot. I did certain things in the army that, not really proud of, but it was necessary at the time. Would I have done them the same? Yes. But anyway, one of the things that the British Army learnt very early on in Northern Ireland was a thing called hearts and minds. And hearts and minds basically meant, don't send the fucking paras over here because they're fucking stupid. But sorry, what that meant was, don't go out and shoot people. Go out and shake them by the hand. And the reason I mentioned Northern Ireland first is because I'm going to lead on to the Gulf and the Gulf states, is what we learned in Northern Ireland about shaking by the hand. Take your helmet off, wear a beret instead, because it's less inflammatory and people don't find it as scary, is why America had so much trouble, whereas the British didn't have that much trouble, because we actually learnt from this idea of, well, if you go up to somebody wearing a helmet and point a gun at them, they're not going to be really happy, whereas if you wear a beret, which is more friendly,
absolutely,
you have your gun, but you don't point it at somebody.
Well, that's the thing,
isn't
it? That's the thing. Invasion with a smile is so much better with invasion without.
If you treat people like... I mean, I can remember being on patrol in Northern Ireland and somebody coming up to a member of the team, just a casual person, and he just said, "Don't go down that street."
No, I get you, Sean. The thing is,
because
I look at this
the way they were treated.
I'm looking at this from the soldier's perspective, and this is why the soldier's perspective is so irrelevant to the topic at hand when it comes to politics. Is that on the ground, you are told that you are the good guy. You're made to think that you are the good guy. You are trained to produce good guy results.
Yeah.
And if you can imagine, it's a bit like, for example, I do a home invasion. Okay, I literally run into somebody's home, take over the place or whatever like that. I've got family members at gunpoint, and then complain that people aren't willing to play Risk with me. Getting upset about the idea that nobody's willing to play some sort of board game. Anyone want to play Monopoly? Why is nobody in the mood? For some reason or other, the Northern Irish, regardless of whether you were nice to them or not, didn't want you there.
Do you know why Do you
And
know what British Army
although
were
it may
first put in there?
minimise the amount of deaths that come around to the armed services that are involved in that particular project, it doesn't stop the resentment. It's like, yeah, well, we're here, but just keep your head down, mate. We'll be gone soon enough. That's about as much as anyone in the local population can hope for.
Do you remember? No, you weren't born. But do you know why the British Army first went into Northern Ireland?
1977, I was born, mate. So
Yeah, I know. But in the late 60s,
that wasn't the reason that we were in Northern Ireland. How long had the UK owned the Irish?
The reason the main British Army went over into Northern Ireland was to protect the Catholics.
Right.
Seriously. But the
no.
trouble is,
when you say seriously, are you saying that the government propaganda at the time, I must believe now? You can see where it goes wrong for me here?
That is the official line.
Yeah. And I can understand why you, as a young 20-something, might believe that in order to prop up your career there at the time.
Mate, I'm an Irish Catholic.
I couldn't give a shit. I'm an atheist, so that
believe it or
whole
not,
point is irrelevant to me.
It will tickle your irony button. My grandmother in 1917 smuggled guns for the IRA.
Yeah, you told
and
me
was
about
involved
this.
in the separation. Her 90th birthday party would have involved three ex-prime ministers and a serving prime minister, and the only reason she didn't attend was she wasn't well enough. She went from fighting the British government to working in the Conservative Party central office.
It's almost as if what people say and what people it's almost as if what people say and what people do don't correlate.
And that the Conservatives are proving to be working with terrorists.
The Conservative Party have always, even after, pretty much immediately after the bomb in Brighton, there were secret discussions going on between the IRA and the Conservative government of the day. That is, you can look it up on the internet. It's there.
Well,
we have admitted to that.
It's a dialogue, isn't it? It's a dialogue of demands.
Yeah, ultimately you have, it doesn't matter how much you hate and despise whatever the group you're dealing with.
Officially.
At some stage, you have to have discussions.
You're always going to have discussions. People,
it might
officially
be
speaking, it's different. Yeah, officially speaking, it's different.
Oh yeah, they never. Which is fair enough. I'm quite happy to accept that.
Because if you don't talk to the people you're fighting, the only option is genocide.
Well, if you don't talk, it just continues.
That's what I meant.
It was. We go on about discrimination. Prince Charles was supposed to marry, or wanted to marry, a lady called Princess Maria Streed from Luxembourg. But if he'd married her, he would have immediately have to have disavowed all. He basically couldn't have been king because she was a Catholic. Princess Michael of Kent, any of her offspring, and Prince Michael of Kent, he remarried. Their children are cut off from accession to the throne because Princess Michael of Kent is a Catholic.
But anyway, you see this sort of religious intolerance in America too. This is one of the reasons why they had the First Amendment in the first place. It had nothing to do with any particular religions apart from Catholicism. So it was about various different types of Christian having a go at each other. The First Amendment had very little to do with other religions. If anyone knew this.
Well, I mean, they came from European stock, and the basic European religions were Protestantism and Catholicism. So, suddenly they discover Judaism and Islam, and crikey Moses.
It's funny that Churchill was a big fan of Islam. Funny how so many use him as a means to produce the anti-European sort of thing. I wonder how he'd feel about that.
Oh God,
Boris.
sorry.
I
Sorry,
imagine
Jeff.
he had himself a drink.
Oh God, sorry to change subject right now, but I was just web surfing and discovered that one of the next
Sorry, since you're doing it.
one of the next Marvel movies coming out is one called Eternals, and a conservative anti-LGBTQ group has called for a boycott of it because one of the characters is going to be openly gay.
Are you sure it's called
Oh,
The Eternals?
okay.
It is a film called The Eternals.
Is it a film? It's not a series.
It is a film. Eternals film.
All right, okay.
Yes, and apparently the group is called 1 Million Mums, a Christian group who opposes the
right,
film
that bunch.
because it has an openly gay character in it.
No,
But there's already a series called The Eternals.
Cares.
Sorry. At the moment you mentioned they were a religious group, I just sort of think they're not likely to be promoting LGBT anyway.
No. So,
I mean, I could be wrong. Hold me
Yep.
hand up
Oh,
quite
listen.
happily.
This is all
Whenever-
they. That's their whole existence, is to sue television shows and various other brands for
It-
featuring.
yeah, well, when I was first looking at this, when I first saw 1 Million Mums, I thought, what, did 1 million mothers sign some sort of petition against the film?
No.
I'm like,
Do you know
"Ah,
the
no."
funny thing is for me? The funny thing is for me, as far as these right-wing idiots are concerned, I've met quite a bunch of them, and I know a few of them and consider themselves friends in some cases. And if they knew how close I was to Joss Whedon on a daily basis over this last week, after this last month, they would drive them fucking nuts.
Wait, what?
Joss Whedon, yeah.
I don't think we wish to hear about your sexual exploits. Thank you very much.
No, what I'm saying is I'm literally
does.
spitting distance from this person for most of the time.
You've worked with Joss Whedon also.
Yeah, of course.
Who hasn't? Kura? Come on. keep up. Jeez.
I told you I work in film,
Yeah, but you didn't say someone that big.
mate.
No, I mean,
How do you think it works? How do you think it works, mate? I mean, like, you know,
I was
Netflix and all that sort of business. Those are the big payers now.
I was chatting with Jeff McGibbon earlier this week.
You'll see me. Okay. I'm going to give you a little hint. I won't.
Heads up.
This won't spoil an NDA. You will see me in a TV series on Netflix. No, sorry, HBO. In the next year, as a drunk person on the side of the street.
Congratulations.
So you weren't acting then?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, no.
Alright,
To be
go.
honest, all I had to do was call back to the 90s, and I was there.
Well, hang on. Since you've said you've worked with Joss Whedon, okay, I think this is absolutely going to be the most important question that needs to be asked.
Okay,
Have you asked him about Anita Sarkeesian?
mate, no.
Of course not. Good for you.
Yeah, because we're fucking professionals, and we don't do that stupid, dumbass shit.
Like having a job, dude.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck do you think world we're living in, you fucking idiot, fucking millennials?
Had to go. Joss, really good film. I love the
Yeah.
direction.
Gamergate
What do you think about
forever,
Anita? Well,
motherfucker.
while we're here chatting,
Yeah, I bet you're triggered now, bitch. Yeah, that's gonna really work well.
Then
What
you
are you
walk
trying
up
to do? Set a world record
Yeah.
for the fastest time kicked
I'm
off
just
set?
trying to get egg and bacon out of the fucking catering staff, mate. That's all I'm there for. You know, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, this is the problem with a lot of these fucking idiots online. They have no idea what's going on in the real world. At all. Zero. Zero understanding. You know?
So who's? But also, if you subscribe to Robin's Patreon, then he will give you gifts such as.
I will not. No. If you subscribe to my
Nothing
Patreon,
whatsoever.
I will not give you any gifts. I will not give you any extras or whatever like that. All I'm giving you is the assurance that you are paying me money. That's it.
Wait, so scorn and contempt.
Trust me, he does
I
do
don't
extra.
even-
He does extras
I
if you pay me
don't
enough.
care about
I
you.
know.
I don't care about you. If you die tomorrow and you keep your Patreon going, I'm going to take the money. Shh. This is
If I
how
die
it works.
tomorrow, who's gonna know?
You don't even pay Patreon. You come on here all the fucking time and I get nothing from you. Even bloody
do.
Luca fucking puts in some fucking cash.
I used to before I came on here.
Absolutely. He deserves to be here. Sean, you have no excuse. Anyway,
I've paid you money.
then
I
pay me
even
more.
fucking dragged my sorry ass down to visit you when you were dying in hospital.
You silly sod. Why would you do such a stupid thing as that?
Because I wanted to laugh in your face. Unfortunately, I put my back out, and I couldn't laugh in your face.
Yeah, I bet
because
you were
was in
wholly
pain.
disappointed when when you turned up there and you kind of go, well, he's not dying now. Oh, God.
Do you actually visit him?
What a waste of a motorway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, him and Mel came
Because I'm
down.
a decent human being, and it's what decent human beings do.
I know, it's weird. I forgot what decent human beings are like.
Yeah, Northerners are weird.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, we
Sean.
Do you
care
know,
about
he
people.
came down and he almost died from the sun.
Wow, Sean, you went outside.
I'll tell you, the weird thing was there were no cobbles on streets down London.
Yeah, and there was like sun in the sky. You didn't know how to deal with it, did you? Having a star so close to you.
Wait. There's sun in London?
I tell you, me clogs almost
It was the
melted.
middle of summer.
Yeah, but this only happens like 2 days a year.
In London,
Middle
not
of
so
summer,
bad.
it were
He sweated.
September,
Let's say
October.
that.
sweated. Lad, I was glowing. I had to put my ferret down halfway down the road.
See what we're going with.
Poor bugger couldn't handle M1.
Next one, he's going to start talking about rhubarb.
Ferrets? My God, are you compoed from last of the summer wine?
What's wrong with ferret? Have you ever played with a ferret?
No, funnily enough.
Well, I'll tell you what. They're one of the most friendliest, beautiful animals you can get a kid for a pet.
I know Sylvester
They're
McCoy used to
lovely.
stuff it down his trousers for an act.
They're a lovely animal. Okay, they kill rabbits. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It used. If you're not a Yorkshireman, you can tell the proper Yorkshireman they've got a flat cap on the rat, flat cap on the red, whip it on the lead, and a ferret in a box when they're going out on a Friday night.
To anybody, to anyone in America land, that was what we call Northern. This is a say dialect, a broken, destroyed English. It really depends on your point of view.
It's proper
This
English.
is done.
We're an anti-Yorkshire podcast.
This is done to simply confound English-speaking people.
Either
Like
way,
to-
Sean, you're starting to sound like compo from last of the summer wine.
If you are,
What's wrong with last
if
summer?
you are American,
Nothing.
you would obviously like to wiki the word confound, and if you can just
Yorkshire.
exactly. I'll wait.
In fact, wiki the whole
I'm
sentence.
I'm happy to wait until you finish wikiing. So I'll just give a moment of silence to everyone in America.
Happen.
Confound.
So-
That's CONFOUND.
Still, Sean, I like
Do you want me
lots
to
of the
say that
summer
again?
wine. Great show.
Just one more time for the
It's-
Americans. CONFOUND. 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 Confound.
Last of Summer Wine is the longest running
British sitcom, yeah.
British sitcom ever.
That's the
the
saddest thing in
longest-
the world.
I'll be honest, it's the longest world sitcom.
The Darling Buds of May was when British producers finally gave up on the phrase "kill it before it dies."
Okay.
The bloke who wrote it, Royston Clark.
Oh, Royston Clark. Oh, yeah.
He also wrote Open All Hours.
Oh, that was him. Yeah. I think he's still writing the new one as well.
Yeah, he did that as well. He's He's either very late 80s or early 90s. He
And he can still produce good stuff.
Well, I mean, Summer Wine lasted for over 30 years.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, the guy, I think he lives just outside Goole. He bought, I'm trying to think of the name of the property. It's called, I think it's called the Roundhouse, somewhere down south. And he bought it because it's an architectural. If you're into architecture, it's one of those buildings that needs to be preserved. So he bought it, lived in it for a while, and then sold it gave it to a museum because he just didn't want it to go to waste. And it's a really strange bit. It's like 3 concentric circles linked together, and that's why it's called the Roundhouse. It's very strange.
I still remember the first episode of Last Summer Wine I watched. Do you remember the one where Wesley ended up making a big tractor wheel on wheels, and they had to have combo in the back of it?
Oh, and he gets in the. It's just a bizarre. Drew, if you're there, it's just.
Yeah, are you there, Drew? Help me.
It's so quintessentially strange.
Help me now.
If you look, it's basically doddery old geezers from up north of England.
You see?
Being very silly.
You see this?
But I wish to
This is
cast
what I
my
have to
vote saying
cope
that
with.
North England was a mistake.
This is what I have to deal with on a daily
What are we talking about?
basis. Exactly.
North
Great British sitcom.
Nothing.
Look,
Nothing
go on
is
you-
what they're
Drew.
talking about.
Yeah.
go on YouTube
Yeah.
and click in Last of the Summer Wine.
Don't.
Okay.
Sure.
I
Don't
can't
waste your
get-
time.
It's
clicked, but-
it's gentle humour. It's not rude. it's
Gentle
not sweary.
humour. The
Gentle-
best
well,
kind.
I am an American. I do enjoy rude humor. you understand.
Sean,
But this
Sean,
is gentle humour.
Sean, you do know The Lost of Wine is a very visual medium as a comedy.
Yes.
It's
This is
both.
why it might be wasted on him.
Well, now I have to listen just to prove
It's
you fucking
gentle
wrong.
humour. Do you know what gentle humour is? It's the
No.
sort of humour that you would find in a Christmas cracker. That's
Bollocks.
gentle.
I don't. Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
okay.
Sean described it correctly, which was bollocks.
I'm quite
Just
a fan
because you
of
don't
Blackjack.
fancy Nora Batty.
Oh,
I
Not
can
extreme
do
here.
without Nora Batty in
No,
my
no,
in
it's
my
not
sex
Basically,
life.
this whole conversation is a mistake.
In
I
my
kinda-
mind during my sex life, I can
No.
deal without.
I kind
Nora
of love-
Batty is a sex symbol.
See, I remember obviously Bill Owen died.
Only
long
to
before they finished
people
the series.
who find erotica.
You
Yeah,
don't
I
even know
think.
what you're saying.
But Bill Owen obviously died long before the series, and I kind of liked how they actually, because obviously they had to kill off Combo as well. I kind of like he died from a heart attack after seeing Nora Batty in some
Oof.
sort of frock or something.
Oof.
I mean, it's a lovely thing to sit down and watch in an afternoon.
No, it's not.
It's not. It will make you smile. You will chuckle at some of the gags
TV
because
is
they
a
are
suicide pact.
cleverly written. No, you're just a West
Okay,
Country
Donald Trump, I know
Philistine.
you're
No,
listening to
I
this.
am a generation that is separated from the television by at least 2 degrees.
Okay, can I just quickly button to make a quick request to our good fan Donald Trump? I know you're looking at the UK and you're thinking, what the fuck in this conversation? Please nuke the north of England. Aim just below your golf course, that's all good.
No one will be missed. Let's be frank. There's all
I
that
know.
free real estate.
I think I might miss it because she gets to be less rude about the north.
Ah, the north, where accents matter.
There's a lot of love on this show today.
Well, it's like people.
Well, we weren't the one who said we were going to fuck off because we're struggling because we're crap at our internet stuff.
Yes, you were. You were that bunch.
No, that were you.
It's
I
not us
can't
down
work
here.
Google, so I'm going to leave.
Oh, we can work Google, sir.
Obviously, you can't.
We Google search things like, what the fuck is the EU for?
Just living in London and saying that.
No, I would like to blame all the home counties for Brexit. It's your fault, and you should suffer because of it, and you will.
Brexit's
Hey.
David's fault.
Good news about my county for the Brexit.
Yeah, move to London if you want to get out of that shit.
No. It's expected to have a 1% economy increase.
1% over how long?
Yes.
That's my
the usual
question.
across the UK is it's predicting a 7 to 15% reduction in the economy. My county is predicting a 1% increase.
Over how long?
Yes. Government did not publish the time.
That's kind of telling.
Just like they're sitting on all the impact assessments of Brexit right now.
Well,
Not even releasing them.
not to mention the impact of Russian interference into the elections. Still waiting on that one.
Oh yeah, that report's going to be destroyed before the next Labour government gets in to release it.
Yes.
That's not going to happen.
But
I
you reckon
mean,
there's going to be another Labour
You've got
government
more
here
chance
today?
of the investigation into Boris and his computers.
Extramarital
Honestly,
affairs.
she was teaching me how to log in, log on, and log off.
And that's a euphemism for blowjobs, I'm assuming.
I would never use a euphemism.
You really should.
No, I remember someone, a YouTuber, actually referred to Brexit as Boris Johnson's baby, and all I thought was, well, we know how well he treats his
Yeah, you
children.
know
right?
how he treats his
We
kids.
just don't know who the mother was, apart
Yeah.
from Nigel Farage.
Yeah, it's Boris Johnson's baby, but nobody knows who the mother is. Christ. What a fucking mess we've got ourselves into.
Ugh, democracy.
Boomers gotta die.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that Farage is thinking about starting another political party?
Oh God.
Grift away.
Is that what it's called?
It should be.
Photo.
May as well be.
We're the Grifters Party.
I
Give
think
me your
the
money.
party should be called "We've Already Got Your Money."
Well, it could be the Grifters Party, the No Refund Party, the Retirement Fund.
Hmm.
You know-
Something
you know,
like that. Yeah. The EU
you know-
isn't paying me anymore. .com.
You know, I joke about the idea of starting a party to disenfranchise people. Weirdly, I think that would genuinely take off because young people want to stop the old people from voting. Old people want to stop the young people from voting. I can get everyone.
So basically, somebody who's basically 45, they're the only person allowed to vote.
Precisely.
Perfect.
They're too
Oh
young.
no! Oh no! Also, if you didn't go to university, you can't vote. In fact, you can't even vote in X Factor.
Okay, you can't vote because you didn't go to university, because the universities, they bring out the best people, don't they?
Oh, I've got it. We let 40-year-olds vote who have their birthday on the day of the election.
Or, and I mean this is a radical idea, we could just let everyone vote.
Yeah, but we tried that. We got Brexit, we got Trump, we
Yeah.
got Boris Johnson. That's obviously not working.
Yeah.
So instead of informing the electorate, we should just ban the electorate.
Fair, I think there is genuinely one demographic not allowed to vote, and I think people who are clinically declared an idiot.
But that sort of means that.
You talking about British public?
Yeah, I mean, forget about people being able to vote. What about the politicians?
Well, obviously, you've got to go to public school.
That doesn't stop you being an idiot. I like these
Well, no,
pants,
but-
Max.
But, I mean, we've got to look at what we've got. You know, I mean, you obviously need to go to a public school. You obviously need to be highly educated. It doesn't matter if you're
Educated
highly
highly is the word.
corrupt, or dishonest, or misbehave in a slightly dodgy way.
We don't use that word. We don't use Nobody is dishonest. Nobody's a liar. They
I
are
didn't
just
say that. I said slightly.
No.
They are the right honourable gentlemen.
The expression that you're looking for is having an estranged relationship with the truth.
I don't know about estranged.
It's equally
A
accurate.
distant. Can I go for distant relationship with truth?
How about distant and estranged?
Ooh, crikey,
That
you're
way
pushing it
everyone's
now.
covered.
You're pushing it now, lad.
Everyone's covered that way.
Why are we arguing about above or up?
Because we're British.
Okay.
Let's be honest. Let's all sit down with a pot of tea and have a discussion about it.
It just
Yes,
stops
we're
at
British.
What tea?
all of that. Everyone's sort of like kind of going, does this seem like rational to you?
Well-
It's like, yes, but we're British. Oh, okay.
Yes, but what tea? Because the Conservative minister tweeted out about Yorkshire tea, and a Conservative minister a few years ago did a speech about how we can ship Yorkshire tea, grown in Yorkshire, to China and India,
Yes, where the tea comes from.
Indonesia.
Not to mention the
know.
fact that we're somebody was eating a patriot breakfast recently, which consisted of a French delicacy, German delicacy. And you're just sort of sitting there and kind of going, so history, the history lesson was just something that happened to other people.
British
Right.
things, British things.
So right, we can have the British dinner delicacy of special curry, chips, and sausage. Sorry, I mean a New World delicacy, an Indian delicacy, a Chinese delicacy, and a German delicacy.
Let's just be realistic here. We are going to get incredibly booed at the Eurovision Song Contest, aren't we?
We always do.
Look, the Israelis can get more votes than we can. We're in trouble.
No, they're committing a genocide.
Yes.
And they're not even European.
At least
the
they're
funniest thing of it
committing a
all.
genocide to other people rather than their own.
The Eurovision's got
Yeah,
a
but
song
poor people
contest, and we have Australians winning it.
Well, not winning, but getting close. Yeah, they've come second. They only really started a few
But
years. Being in this
I don't want to sound funny, but which part of Australia's in fucking Europe?
The top bit.
Oh yeah, I must have missed that in my geography lesson.
Does it even matter this year? They're sending a clown to represent them.
Yeah, haven't you been to
Well, is
the
Boris
Australian?
doing it? Is Boris doing the Eurovision? I'm impressed.
It's
Oh,
Priti
great.
Patel. Priti
What's he
Patel.
singing?
Priti Patel's going to be there.
Oh, is she doing backing vocals or is she
A
doing...
lady who has a smirk on her face that makes her look not only that she's got something hidden in her closet, but she really likes the idea it's there.
No, Priti Patel is
No,
the best
Priti
example.
Patel's has the look of a person who is going to deport her parents.
No, she's already deported her parents, and they're suing to try and get back in. And she knows that she's in control of the jury that's regarding that.
Oh yeah,
She has a level of smug that makes even lottery winners want to kill her.
Oh, Priti Patel. Oh, she has all these allegations of bullying. But what about the Labour Party and they're dealing with anti-Semitism? That was actually something said in the House of Commons.
And we can't mention the 300 separate cases of obviously anti-Semitism are important. The 300 cases of basically,
Islamophobia?
Well, I don't like that. It's not.
Okay.
You know
It's a
what I mean?
it's a perfectly adequate word. The thing is that, and I've said this when it was asked on LBC, which was, is the problem how big is the problem with Islamophobia in the Conservative Party? And my response to that was too big to fail.
Sounds about right.
Which was fun. Which was really funny, as long as you didn't take the context interview.
It's why I dislike. I mean,
That's the problem with my comedy. It's too dark.
no, it's not that. It's what I dislike. I mean, it's called anti-Semitism, which is basically you're against.
It's
Well,
a
anti-Semitism
specific
has been-
form of racism.
Anti-Semitism has been converted into basically anti-Jewish.
What?
Whereas a Semite or a Semite is somebody from a specific area, which is around that, which is now Israel. It's that's what the Semite is. It's got fuck all to do with being Jewish, but it has now become, if you're anti-Semitic, you're anti-Jewish. And therefore, we now make anti-Zionism.
Yeah, but you know what? Anti-swastika doesn't make you anti-Hindu, does it?
But what has happened is, instead of...
Can you at least acknowledge that point?
Yeah, okay, I acknowledge that point. But...
So when you're talking about North Africans that are either to the left of the right of the Sinai Peninsula, we've already given up on that definition. At this point, we're really talking about Jewish people.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. But
if we're going to Sean. But if we're going to just lock on to the semantic idiocy, there is no debate here.
Fair enough, but if you have to, but there is no
Lots of
such
buts
thing
here,
as.
Sean.
Well, hang on. There's no such thing as, or no equivalent as of anti-Islamism. We call it Islamophobia.
Right.
That's what bugs me.
Why?
The cadence of language.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Because
for example,
phobia is
anti-Semitism, would you consider it less or more so if somebody called somebody Semiticophobic? Forgetting about the fact that it rolls off the tongue differently. I mean, this is where the argument lies. You know, they say anti-Semitic, but they say Islamophobic, and it's like, yeah, but try and say those two in reverse. It just sounds daft. And that's because the English language sucks on this sort of front.
But the trouble is,
semantic idiocy is not an argument, though.
Well, but the difference is what it means. To be Islamophobic. I mean, and then the argument comes out, well, Islam's not a race, Islam's not the,
That's nothing to do with phobia.
Precisely.
If you called somebody who is Islamophobic a racist, then you're running around it, and at this point you just say, "I'm very sorry for getting your bigotry incorrect." But if I say to you anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, those are exactly the same principles, just in a different religion. Can you not agree to that?
Sort of, but I just...
Yes or no?
It's not, nothing's yes or no.
No, that question was.
Then no.
So you're saying that Islamophobia versus anti-Semitism, it's not the same thing, just with a different name.
It's not the same thing because...
So it's a form of religious racism.
They have different connotations. They're accepted as different connotations. You're talking about...
two different Abrahamic faiths.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I hate religion. I seriously hate religion.
So,
because
but we're not talking about
bollocks.
religion in general. We're talking about particular Abrahamic, monolithic sort of religion here. Yeah, it's kind of important.
It's how they're ascribed.
Yes, Jews generally, or those at least Israeli adjacent, it seems, generally tend to look at Islam in a negative light. Inversely, bizarrely speaking, those who are more Muslim-centric generally tend to look at Zionism as a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, but we call one anti-Semitic, and we refer to the other as phobic.
Right. Which what we just said earlier is
incorrect.
No, it's merely a distinction without a difference.
But it's still incorrect.
Yes, somebody who is a homophobic hates gays, right?
Yes.
Right. You understand that somebody who's phobic of something hates it.
But phobic
you could
means
almost
an
say
irrational-
you could almost say that somebody who hates something is against it, almost anti.
But
Do you see that the
phobia-
homophobia business and the
no,
anti?
because sorry, Robin, a phobia is an irrational fear,
Right,
is
but
it not?
does that usually
As
mean that
is-
somebody
as
is
is-
pro homosexuality? They just fear it.
We're not talking about homosexuality. We're talking about religion.
Well,
and
we're talking about
and
homophobia.
definitions
We
of
were
religion.
talking about the word homophobia, and I ask you this: if somebody who is not willing to be a homosexual, that doesn't make them afraid, does it?
But it's not.
So
an ira-
the phobia
we're talking about
bit.
we're talking
I was
about
trying to
irras-
I was trying to make the point of the phobia bit is really to do with the fact that they're against something, rather than just
But
being
it
irrationally
shouldn't be
afraid.
described as
Yes, but then
what
now you've
phobia
got to
is,
try it. Yeah, but
an
now.
irrational fear.
Yeah, but what we're doing is we're arguing about the semantics of the same meaning. I'll say this, yeah. If I call a ton a squiggle, it still weighs the same.
Well, maybe that's just
But
an
it-
argument for why
but it's
homophobia
not
shouldn't be
ex-
called homophobia.
It shouldn't be called a phobia. Well, the trouble with no, it shouldn't be called a phobia because
Because it's
it
irrational.
shouldn't be irrational. But neither should be.
Do you think being afraid of Muslims is a
Islamophobia.
rational fear then?
Sorry.
Do you think being afraid of Muslims and what they can do is rational or irrational?
Surely that depends on whether you're talking about a radical group or not.
Once again, we're talking about Islam, an umbrella that incorporates about 1.6 billion people on the planet, not a particular sect of Islam that may or may not be violent.
I also have to add, Islam is actually one of the most diverse one of the Abrahamic religions. Judaism is incredibly narrow. Christian effectively has 4 branches of it, where you can go for Catholic following the Pope, Catholic not following the Pope, Church of England Protestant, or Protestant, 5, and then there's Mormon. Because Christianity is a really narrow religion. Judaism is even more a narrow religion. And the Muslim, you've got 7 different holy books on top of the Quran, and then you've got 14 hadiths, which is very much a pick and choose your own adventure.
If you imagine religiously speaking, Islam is basically anarchism.
Yeah.
Still dumb. But then
eating
again,
pork
so
as
is
a Muslim is
anarchism.
more justifiable than eating pork as a Christian.
Still dumb. Oh. Now you heard that sound, right? Now, you heard the sound of a keyboard falling off of a couch seat. But did you hear the rattle of a key that has come loose?
No.
I heard
Wow.
it. I heard it. I heard it.
Oh dear.
Let's see what came loose.
This is great radio. Seeing
Yeah.
things.
Radio is a visual medium after all.
Okay, so we're looking at the 0 key. Here it is. That's the 0. The enter key. But it's one of those classic clunky things that the keys actually are supposed to fall out, it seems. Back in.
Decent, but-
Almost every other keyboard I've had that falls over, the keys don't fall out. It's only these fucking mechanical keyboards. That's when they fucking fall out. I fucking hate. I hate them. I hate them.
You said keyboard. I honestly thought you meant a musical keyboard.
Mechanical keyboards. I hate them. I spent most of my life getting rid of them, and then I had I've never had like a really expensive keyboard. And like bitches were always whining about, mechanical keyboards are so much better, so much better, so much better. And I was like, kind of going, I don't want it. It seems like a waste of time to me. And then a cheap one came along. I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. You know, fuck it. You know, it's been a while, and it's a waste of everyone's life. Oh, did you want to type like you did in the 90s? So you felt as if you were typing on a typewriter? Well, actually, no. I didn't want to do that. Well, tough, because you wanted the thing with the lights in it.
Robin, they probably sell it on Facebook.
Yeah, I could say that it was like an open house, sort of like regular. Maybe get 20 quid extra out of it. You know how famous we are nowadays.
Yeah, I think we've got 4 people watching us right now.
Do you know what? This is the thing. What was his name?
5.
I can't remember that name of the rapper. Who is the rapper who was saying that he was the Peter Jordan of Jordan Peterson of rap, and then simultaneously complaining about politics in rap?
The only rapper I know who tries to be political is Kanye West, but probably not him.
No, even worse than him. He's not even that famous, and he's like complaining about NWA, or at least obviously their current form, and they just got rid of Flavor Flav, who has been a nightmare for them ever since they were a thing, and they finally got rid of him because of some Bernie Sanders rally that was like the last fucking straw, and everyone's sitting there kind of going, yeah, they've been Flavor Flav because they put politics in the way of their business. It's like sitting there kind of going, sorry, what? Have you not bothered listening to the lyrics that these people were professing at the time? You didn't think these guys were left wing? I don't know what you were thinking, but you weren't thinking. It's like people looking at, say, you know, Rage Against the Machine, thinking that they were like an anti-proletariat movement. You're just sitting there kind of going, is nobody listening anymore to things that actually happen? Or do they just like the beat? You know?
There was a thing a few years, 4 years back, I think, well, certainly when Trump was elected, Eminem was on the TV channel Bet, and he was doing, I think it was a freestyle thing, and he just does a whole bit ranting about Trump, essentially. He even goes as far as to end it by saying, if any of you are my fans are Trump supporters, fuck you, something on those lines.
Yeah.
I was telling that story to someone at work who actually told me that even at a concert, he actually stopped halfway through his set and said, told the audience, when I say fuck you, say Trump. Fuck Trump, fuck Trump.
Yeah. It's a weird old world. It's a weird old world we live in right now. I wouldn't like to be an artist. Certainly not.
Even though you do acting.
So, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, he's acting. He's not the screenwriter.
Yeah, actors read what's told them. And most of the time they don't even read what's told them. They just do what they're told on, as far as...
They recite.
Not even that. What I'm saying is that most actors don't actually say any lines. There's like 3 people in most movies that have lines. And the rest of us are just there to make up the background.
Well, you just add to the ambiance.
If you will. Although, sometimes, I don't know, some of these guys. The one thing I've learned when it comes to essay work is keep your fucking head down. Don't put yourself in the mix too much, otherwise you won't get used later on down the line, but that's just me.
What does essay mean?
Supporting actor.
Ah, right.
So if you imagine that can involve you either having some sort of lines to say, down to the fact that you're just basically some guy in the background, 4 pixels blurred. So it's a big medium. It's a big sort of tent to be in. You could be featured, you might not. I've talked to people who were people who go to like Star Wars conferences and get and like will give people a signature. Stuff like that. People care that they were in the movie. All the way down to people who you would never recognise.
Yeah.
It's
all the way up to Johnny Depp, yeah.
it's not the people involved that count, or it's not the general public. It's more the people in the profession, and they notice the people in the
No,
background.
not even that. Not even that. None of us give a shit. This is the thing is that there's a certain part of the acting fraternity which is just basically being a prop. It's good. It's good work because you get paid reasonably well for the day. You get 3 meals a day. That's fine. All that sort of business it's a good enough job. You don't get it every day or whatever like that, but it pays the rent. If you're there from like early in the morning till late at night, you could get like 250 for a day. It's not great money, but it's all right for a daily. You know, it's not great, but it's all right. So if shit is tight and you've at least got that going for you, you can keep yourself going.
There is. I remember going to an anime con and was listening to a voice actor called Carl Herbert, and he's also done some live action stuff as well. And he did actually talk about how there's a specific kind of extra. I can't remember what the name of it is now, but it's the kind of people you'll see in stadiums and stuff like that. And he said how
there's a volunteer extras. Okay, you have what they would call SA. Okay, these are people that get paid FAA rates. FAA rates are unionized, standardized rates for daily use of a human being who is expected to do a certain amount of tasks in a day for a certain amount of period of time, blah, blah, blah. And then you have the volunteer extra.
What the hell? Why would someone...
Well, a volunteer extra will make up, say, 20 to 30,000 people. A normal SA will be around the sort of like the 300, 400, 500 person tops mark.
I don't think it was volunteer. I'm assuming, but with the name volunteer, these are people who don't get paid.
They don't get paid at all yet.
Right, then I don't think it was that, because he was talking about people who suddenly make their living off of being a kind of extra who in a stadium, something like that.
Yeah, but if you say in a stadium, so you're talking in regards to multiples of 1,000 people.
Mm.
So FAA rates, okay, if you were just to turn up for an hour, no more, no less, 1 hour, that's £70, cash in hand. Just to turn up, just to arrive. Forget about expenses for the agency fees, forget about expenses for travel. £70, cash in hand, you just turn up to the door. Now times that by 10,000. It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Hmm.
So you can't expect production to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, all I was trying to say was that he was saying how there are people who make a living off of.
Yeah, but they're not doing
work.
just that. They're not just turning up to a stadium every day. Those are normal SAs doing stadium work.
No.
So if you imagine, you will meet SAs doing that sort of thing because they love that sort of business. You know, the thing is when you're part of a production, you get to witness it too, and there is a payoff for some people who just like that sort of thing. I mean, I've met Harry Potter fans on set while we're doing a Harry Potter derivative movie who can't fucking stop smiling. And so you have to put them behind a pillar or something so they're not even fucking seen. Because they can't even act seriously while they're there because they think that they're in some sort of fucking... Yeah, we can't stand people like that. Because they waste everybody's time.
Mm.
The weird thing is...
I can understand from both sides. I can understand why people get that. Fuck me, I'm on stage.
I understand that, but don't fucking grin while you're on the fucking stage.
I understand from your point, which is we're here doing a job.
You're still here to do the fucking job, yeah. And if you're just going to grin while you're going through here, you're just spoiling it. You're wasting everyone's fucking shot.
And the saddest thing, or the most unfortunate part of it, is that yes, you would have been fantastic for the position that you came for, and yes, you would have looked lovely in that, but because you couldn't stop being an inane idiot, you've just fucked up your life, and you fucked up the film.
Well, no,
very
it's
much.
not, it's
There's-
well, it's not so
there's a
much that
pillar,
they just don't get
stand behind
used.
it.
I mean, if those sort of people are there and they make up say 10-15% of the audience, damn right they're gone. But if they make up 0.1% of the audience, they get left.
Roman, you were saying how sporting actors love being sporting actors. It's kind of interesting because I always keep thinking I've not done
No,
great lot of
I
jobs
didn't
in my
say that
life,
they
but
love it. I didn't say that they love it. But what I'm saying is that they understand the craft and give it the respect that it deserves.
yeah, but that's kind of because I've not done a lot of jobs in my life, but certainly I always think whatever profession I do, I rather like being at the bottom of anything because I don't like responsibility. I keep thinking if I was ever, I never would, but if I wanted to be an actor, I'd rather be an extra. Just do that in my whole life.
Certainly, it is an irresponsible role, but you still have responsibilities.
Oh, I'm not saying don't say I.
Yeah, it's
don't say I
certainly
don't
less
act
role than
responsibly in my
the person
profession,
doing
it's
the
just-
sound or the person who's in charge of the camera or the director or even the main actors or whatever like that. However, if you're just there to fucking just grin while somebody's doing a serious fucking role, then you're pissing everybody off.
Oh no, I
People in the
take
shop.
it
Yeah.
serious. I take it seriously, Robin. Because
Yeah.
I
I mean, I
don't
know-
like having
I
great
know
deal of
people-
But
responsibility.
you can understand
I know
why
people have been doing that role for 20
so-
years. I know
Hmm.
people have been doing that role for 20 years. And the reason that they get called upon all the time is because they're trusted to do what they're supposed to do. They're not some grinning inane idiot. Because you get them. I mean, I've been on set where one of the lead actors is there staring at their fucking stalker.
Hmm.
Imagine the person they've just signed the official paperwork for to say to them, you do not stay within 50 fucking meters of me, otherwise you're going to prison. And they're there, 20 meters away from them, looking at them with their fucking shit-eating grin. Crap like that. So yeah, it's a business like anything else. You know, you do your fucking job, otherwise you're gone. People don't take it seriously. They end up getting chucked off because they're smoking a bit of weed or getting, fucking people in the toilets or whatever like that. You're gone. We don't need you. There's plenty of people who want to do your fucking job. That's the thing. Do your fucking job. You get paid well, you get free food. You get, now and again you might meet some famous face or whatever like that, if that matters to you. But do your fucking job, for fuck's sake. This is the thing, when it comes to creative services, your average, everyday, mundane person, when it comes to any other fucking thing, whether it be, services, working at a bar, whatever like that, they do their fucking job. But when you're on a set with like $1 million worth of fucking equipment running around and stuff like that, then you think that it isn't serious. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck off my set. What the fuck are you doing here? It's just like anything else. People got to make money. What the fuck? That's what I don't understand a lot when it comes to creative fields. If you're not taking this seriously, get the fuck out. Plenty of people want your job. Fuck off. If you're not interested, go do something else. Don't need people like that in my life. Don't need people like that in the creative field. We've got enough problems with nepotism and all the other shit that goes along with that. We don't need fucking extra extras. Even in that field. Stop giving, people who know their trade. Stop taking away their work. Just because you want to stand on stage with Johnny Depp for 15 minutes or whatever like that, as though that's important to you. I hate people like that.
Well, it's important to them, but what they don't get is that they're destroying a whole.
Yeah.
Silver,
Yeah.
I can go fuck myself.
No.
Because then I'm going, I get to breathe the air that Johnny Depp breathed.
Well, to be
It's
honest with you,
yeah,
okay.
ruining a day or two of
Okay,
work.
I'll say this: it's hardly a thing. I've had a chat with Johnny Depp on set in front of 500 odd people. 50 of them, a good 10% of them, afterwards, are like, "What did he say? What did he say? What did he say to you?" It's like nothing. It's fucking small talk. It's a bored actor sitting on a stage waiting for everyone to fucking reset so we can do another take. He's bored. I'm bored. We just had a chat. That's about it. It's not like this person's going to be writing poetry in front of me. What the fuck are you talking about? It's just some guy. He's probably hammered from the fact that he had to do a fucking premiere the night before and got fucked off his tits. And he's just managing to arrange himself together to be able to push out some lines today. What are you expecting from this person? Are you insane?
A decent cup of tea, at least, from Johnny Depp.
You're
Obviously.
Yes, I'm being a dad, but I'm bored of it. I'm bored of it. I'm bored of it. I'm bored of fucking 20-somethings asking me stupid fucking questions.
That was once.
No, that was 50 fucking times over an entire day.
I'm sorry, Robin, get used to it.
50 fucking times.
Yeah.
Nobody asked me about when I fucking talked to fucking what's his face? Who was it? Matt Damon, wasn't it? Only one person asked me about that, and that was the AD. And they were like, "Don't talk to him." I was like, "Well, tell him not to talk to me." Now shut her the fuck up.
I did the York Mystery Plays with Chris Timothy.
Anyway,
And-
you guys talk
and
amongst
his
yourselves. Back in a
lady.
moment.
Okay.
Carol drinking water. And I understand exactly what you're saying, because
Please not here in a moment, but
people came up to me and said, "What did Carol say to you?" None of your fucking business. The fact that it was pissing it down, he was soaking wet, and she literally came up and said, "God, he's freezing his bollocks off." This is some I love. You know, lovely I mean, I'm quite fortunate. If you look through my Twitter feed, followers, there are quite a few from the acting fraternity who I know from having actually sat down and chatted with them, because I got lucky. I just bumped. I mean, Jeff McGivern, who was the original fourth prefect, and Jeffrey listening. I don't know you are, because you quite obviously tune into this program. A charming gentleman you could not wish to meet. I remember meeting him at York Theatre Royal, and he was playing in what was it called? THAC, which is a play nobody will have heard of, but THAC was where I met the man. Lovely man.
yeah, actually, I mean, this isn't anyone really famous in particular. It's only famous if you like Doctor Who, but I've only been to one proper convention in my life, and I ended up talking with the guy who played Mike Yates, and I only got to know him through my friend.
Yates.
Yep, through my friend Isaac, who was actually an amateur actor at the time, and we had this whole buffet. There was this whole buffet thing at this convention, and we just all sat around having a nice talk with him. He even gave me some wine. Got me some wine. It's such a shame I don't actually drink, but it was a kind gesture.
He's a nice bloke.
Yes.
And I was fortunate in my younger life. I loved theatre. I wanted to be involved in theatre, and unfortunately, the part of theatre I wanted to be involved in was lights, because I love the power that lights have and how you can create. I'm also colourblind.
Yes. Remember that.
Which kind of fucked up my whole career, because if I was given a choice of anything that I wanted to do, and I still do, I want to do lights in theatre.
Yeah.
Fuck knows what I'd put up as the state. Well, looks good to me. No, it's yellow and green. You're supposed to be red green. Bollocks.
Well, when I was young, I always said I wanted to be a model maker, and I still do stuff out of paper and stuff like this. I mean, that's the TARDIS, although I've rather badly beaten up on it because I've been stuffing it in places. But I pretty much gave up on that when I realised I didn't really like DT or woodwork that much. And but I do have a good attention to detail, and I have been trying desperately badly, but trying to break my way into film restoration, because I think I would genuinely like that. I have done some work experience at some film restoration places, but I'd still love to do that. I don't think it's ever going to properly happen.
Restoration it's a very long and slow, laborious process.
Oh, but I can deal with it. I mean, the stuff I was doing was actually using the Phoenix system for restoration seems like a really simple stuff to do because it's just computer actually doing the restoring. But all I do is get the bits where it's not supposed to fill in all the mistakes it's made, and it's a slow process. But I like it just because I get to watch something more than anything else.
Oh.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to cough and sneeze for half an hour. So I'm literally hovering over the mute button.
Okay.
In fact, hang on.
Is it coronavirus?
Coronavirus.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I think Robin's full of shit with that dude. I'm sorry, but I have no corroboration whatsoever. I think he's spreading some fake news.
I've got a bit of a cough. See, I mean, I was semi-joking earlier when I said I was sat on a bus and I had a sneezing fit yesterday. I wasn't. I was sat on a bus and I did start coughing, and literally the looks at me was, "You are going to die." It was just like, it was bizarre. I sneezed. It's a natural reaction that the body does. When you have a bit of a tickle in your nose, you sneeze. There's no issue. Oh my fucking god. Hello, Robin.
Hello, yes. Sorry. I was just getting a drink out of my lovely wife.
In the background. Wife? You got married? Brilliant!
Well,
Congratulations!
let's be frank. We've been a wife and husband team quite some time. Haven't we, little pig? 13 years now. Are we in our 14th year, or we've been together 14? We've actually got to that point where we don't know whether we've been together for 13 years or 14 years now.
Ugh,
It's that old.
She's lovely. Having had the privilege of meeting a good lady, she is a charming lady.
I know I would.
Well, I would
you
hope
do.
so.
I love you.
I would, wouldn't I? Right in there.
Oh.
She is so petite.
And cute and sweet and lovely.
Oh yeah, she's minute but perfectly proportioned for her
cute.
size.
You're horrible most of the time, but you're nice to some of the time, and I appreciate that bit.
Delightfully charming.
Ugh, what's love?
No,
I'm sorry, it's a foreign concept to you, Bakura.
Bakura, I've met the lady. She is a delightfully charming, very small.
I'd say you'd understand when you get there, mate.
I'm
too old for that now.
getting there.
Who says that? Only
Who says
you.
that? Me.
Only
Yeah.
you, yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah, but you write yourself off that way, Bakura. There is somebody out there that might love you. I don't know who that is.
Nah.
I
no,
wouldn't
have
even venture a guess.
I do. It's Drew's guide dog.
No, I have genuinely thought about this, and I
There's
keep
no
thinking
way
so
to talk
many...
about Drew's wife like that.
I would never. Jamie is my love.
No, I've
Jamie's delightfully polite.
I've genuinely
delicious.
I've genuinely thought about this, and frankly, I keep thinking of so many things about myself. Think, why would anyone want me?
Well, that's the way to go about seeking out a relationship in life, isn't it?
No, that's more to do with his mental attitude.
I genuinely don't like going. I don't like going anywhere. Don't like meeting people.
Lots of people feel that way, dude. Lots of people feel that way.
You're not the only one.
No, but
yeah, but I started developing a really.
Shut up.
I've started developing a new point in my autism where I'm suddenly tidying everything around the house, and now everything has to be in its proper place right now. And I just keep thinking I don't want someone to mess up everything in its proper place.
Like a man who tidies up. That's okay.
Yeah, but I'd get really annoyed if someone puts something in the wrong place.
Yeah, but because that's it.
You're really annoyed.
You
That's
have...
okay too. Everyone's got somebody, mate.
Have you never met a woman who wasn't annoyed with things being in the wrong place?
Okay, Robin, you have to say, have I ever met someone?
Well, I was just going hypothetically, but okay.
Bakura, that's
You
more
are in the
to
wrong
do
place
with
right now.
I'm
you
always in the
don't-
wrong place.
You don't go out.
No.
You're literally a person, and I'm fairly confident saying this is that your life revolves round you,
And
not
anime.
going out.
Lots of anime.
Yeah, pretty much so.
Bakura
I'm
and
fine with
anime.
Yes, and I'm fine with that.
Anime
Well,
is
if you're
his
happy,
wife. Anime is
I
his
knew-
wife.
if you're happy, you do what you're happy with, because that is part of your.
People make love
Um,
on the internet.
No, it's
That's
part
really
of
bad.
autism.
Exactly.
And the thing with autism, the great comfort for people with autism is routine,
Exactly.
and to meet a female, fall in love, that breaks the routine
Exactly.
because it
Exactly.
involves taking steps that you are not comfortable.
Exactly. This is actually why I have actually applied and have been referred, in fact, for a vasectomy. Because I don't know if I can think maybe that's something that finding someone like maybe that's something will change, but a child, really something I don't want.
It's difficult to cope with because if you have a child, then you have to be able to cope with irrationality.
Oh, exactly. I mean, one of the things. I mean, when I
And
said
you ain't gonna handle all that.
yeah, when I
Are
said
you?
this to my parents, but they actually wanted to be really sure I was making this decision properly, wisely, and so they had me talk to someone who specialized in sexual health, but also specialized in people with autism with sexual health, and he was very understanding of the fact that one of the things I can't handle is loud noises, and of course, a child screams all the time.
Well, not all the time, but yeah, I get what you mean. I mean,
It's frustrating enough hearing Robin
let's be
scream.
honest. I mean, autism is my field.
And I just raise my voice. That's all. I just get my mouth closer to the microphone. And that's enough for
Yeah,
him.
but how many autistic people, Robin, have you dealt with?
Yeah,
Quite a
On
it's
a
something I've always been a
day-to-day
bit curious
basis.
about.
Mate, I've been running the open house for 6 years now.
Okay, but mate,
Yeah,
but Robin,
and-
you're just being
So,
facetious now.
that is
So-
that is at least one a week.
But still, now you're just joking right there. But,
No,
I
I'm
understand.
actually not. I'm
I
actually
do
not.
understand what Robin means.
The open house, the thing is, there's two things that have attracted the people to the open house. And it seems to be a trans-friendly and autism-friendly environment.
Yeah,
The bizarrest thing,
Right.
the thing that I get most people coming in here have got some form of autism or some form of being some sort of transsexual.
Interesting.
It is. You're
must-
actually an anomaly because you're blind.
I
Actually,
see.
yeah, Drew, I
was
wanted to
Hey, I'm
ask you.
transgender, and I'm closet transgendered, which
Actually,
is
Drew,
Yeah.
Drew, I've actually wanted to ask more because I asked you before about how do you dream, and
yes. More clueless ass
This
questions.
question again.
well, when we talked about that, you actually said because I was under the impression after 24 that you were completely blind, but you can actually partly see. And I'm
Yes.
just curious. I want to say I'm curious how much, but I'm not trying to be rude. But given that you don't have frame of reference, it might be a bit difficult. But
I think it's like 3,200 acuity or something like that. So it's like well beyond legal blindness or any sort of.
what shapes can you somewhat see?
I can't see any shapes.
Oh, you can't see any.
Like if I move, I could. Yeah, no, I can't really see. Like if
Your
I were to,
imagination is oral.
like I know what shapes feel like, but I don't like.
Yeah.
If I were to see, because I only see out of one eye anyway, so I don't have any depth perception.
Oh, blimey! Didn't realize that.
I know because I didn't tell you. So
we're
As a-
talking about a site where you can chat to a person who is blind and discuss with him.
This is the great thing
what
about
he
radio.
can see.
yes, it's a great equalizer. Unless you're deaf, in which case you need to make other arrangements.
You've obviously got to watch more television.
Yes.
At least on television, they have subtitles.
Right.
For the blind, there's very little. I mean, yes, we have
They have
audio
partners.
descriptive television, which is great.
And this is why blind people can't appreciate anime. Too many subtitles.
There's a lot of things they can't appreciate.
There's a lot of blind people who watch anime. I'm not one of them, but they do exist.
But you at least, I mean, you have Jamie, who is my love.
She won't shut up, so
Jamie,
that certainly helps with description.
Yes, this is correct.
This is what attracted you to her.
Sure.
Jamie has the advantage.
I like
she
this one.
knows
She won't
you.
shut the fuck up. This is going to be
Jamie knows-
really decent for me while watching TV.
Jamie knows Drew. Jamie knows what Drew needs.
Can't see.
She understands Jamie, and she is quite more than capable, and enjoys doing. You know, they have a relationship. For fuck's sake, they understand each other. Because if
we
you
don't know this.
understand each other,
We don't know this. I mean, there's a lot of
Well,
relationships that can hold together.
I don't want
with
to sound
lack
funny,
of
Robin,
understanding,
but
you know.
Drew, how long have you been with Jamie?
10-ish years, depending on how you count it. We'll say.
So
we'll
she's.
10+.
We would say that we could safely say that she's stuck with you.
Would you safely say?
I mean, like, that's one way of putting it, I guess.
I mean, I consider it the legal way of putting it, but
well,
legally it will be that way soon. I mean, we'll lock that shit down in October. I have a ring on my finger with intent, so that's cool.
Go, baby.
But that was
Jamie, I'm moving over next month.
oh, well, you've got options then, Jamie.
I mean, I could leave tomorrow if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, when you've
Well,
got
let's
this
be
stud
honest, he
muffin to
wouldn't-
fucking line
Would
up
Drew
with.
know?
Jesus fucking Christ, there's your options.
Yeah.
hey.
A 50-year-old.
Yay! I like options.
Jamie, you have the choice. Drew, who you
There's a
know, a
weirdo on
58-year-old
TikTok
fat
who's
bastard.
like trying to hook up with me right now too, so that's fun.
It's nice to be wanted.
Yeah, he was like, "What's the secret to your great beauty?" I said, "Tacos and weed." Do you want to talk somewhere more private? I haven't answered. No, but I'm like,
As long as
What
it's
are you-
near
what
a
are you
taco
doing?
bar, I'm fine.
no, I'm good.
Do you want to talk
I mean, it's
somewhere
great.
private?
I mean, you know and you understand what Drew needs and what Drew experiences.
Do you understand what to expect with this thing?
Ugh, love.
No, there's nothing wrong with love, mate. I mean, love is
There's
indefinable.
plenty wrong with love.
Yeah.
Don't fucking don't sugarcoat that shit, mate.
No, there's a difference between love and lust.
Love is a nightmare, and if you're lucky,
Yeah.
it manages to.
Carry on, Robin.
You manage to get fooled
very
into thinking it's a dream.
Difficult and trying, beautiful, rewarding, fulfilling, frustrating, irritating. It's everything.
It's
and
bloody
that's
everything.
all at once.
And you signed the dotted line, and it's your fault.
Good.
Robin at the moment is stood on top of his good lady, trying to stop her from talking.
This
and
is not-
saying, Give it away!
I'll be honest with you, Sean. This is not how to maintain a healthy relationship. Standing on top of your spouse.
Well, it works for me.
Like, Sean, you can- Oh, up until-
I think she died of boredom.
Well, that's what happens when you stand on top of your spouse for too long.
Exactly,
They die.
yeah.
You should learn that.
Asphyxiation does follow suit very fast.
Well, it's not my fault she can't hold her breath very long.
Well, it kind
Yeah.
of is, but
Yes.
we'll
It is.
we'll just let that one slide as it wasn't legally considered murder.
Well,
But
legally,
you know
no.
what? You know what? It is 2020 and it is March, so we will obviously have to mention something about the coronavirus. Or coronavirus. Coronavirus.
I'm gonna go
No,
drink
not
some
Kenora.
coronavirus.
Corona.
Yeah.
Not Corona.
It's the ridiculous stuff that has happened with Corona that's embarrassing.
Pronunciation doesn't matter. That's correct. It really depends on how quickly you will die from it.
How does it spell?
That's not the point, Maggie.
Yeah, it is.
It's a
Did she just say how to smell?
Spell.
Ah.
No, the spelling was different. Corona.
We were just talking about pronunciation, that's all. But anyway. Yes, as far as people dealing with it is concerned, I did like to point out that there's a lot of socialism versus capitalism arguments that are going amiss right now. And for any of you communists out there, this is the time for you. Because basically government turns around and kind of goes, I think we need to all stop traveling for a little bit. And capitalism goes, hey, cheap flights. You know. So, I mean, if you want to run that one, it's up to you guys. But yes, while we have a global pandemic, while we have a global pandemic where people are being told to stay in their homes, the capitalist system is basically screaming free flights virtually for everyone.
Let's be fair.
I would take it, honestly.
You
totally
can travel dirty cheap.
I wouldn't take an international flight, and I wouldn't do a fucking cruise ship. That just seems really stupid. But I would take a domestic flight anywhere.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
can
thing
go. Well, domestic not so bad. It's international where you've got to worry.
There was something
I
in the news.
personally wouldn't give a shit.
Let's say a weekend in Tuscany is very cheap right now.
There was something in the news. I think it was Friday or Thursday. Something about the government trying to work on ways so that supermarkets can actually get food to people who are self-isolating.
Yeah, that's not actually a thing. From what I understand, the government from the supermarkets themselves have turned around and said, yeah, the government hadn't said a goddamn thing to us. They're just lying.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I thought so because this is our government here.
To quote somebody from the, I believe it was some sort of supermarket association, they said that the, I think it was Matt Hancock, has literally
he made the statement and
he literally made it up. The expression was that they used, he has made it up.
Of course he did. It's Matt Hancock.
It was Sainsbury's, hence why there's the jokes about the only communication he's done with supermarkets is phoning them up, see how many next points he has.
Matt Hancock, who is supposedly described as the Parliament geek just because his family is in tech or something.
He's not the Parliament geek, he's the Conservative Party's golden retriever. No, think about all the promotional videos he did during the election. He has the body language of a golden retriever.
More like a gopher.
He also has his own social networking app.
Oh my god.
He genuinely does, called Matt Hancock. There was a lot of things that supposedly you could only do, but this was back when he was, worked for the Home Office or something along those lines, and he actually had his own app developed just called Matt Hancock, and it was for people in his constituency to sign up. So there was a lot of, are you on Matt Hancock? Yeah.
Yes, British politics, what a fucking state. And I think most Brits have, there's been this sort of talk about like a lot of people in the anti-Brexit League and whatnot, basically just giving up. But you don't really understand British politics. We are now at the stage of it's past I told you so. So in British politics, for example, when the losing party wins, which happens a lot. What I mean by the losing party, I mean the people that are, when you ask them a question about the thing that they want, and it's bollocks, they're the losing party. They don't win the argument, but they, for some reason or another, manage to get the ball over the line. It's like a game of rugby as politics. The problem is that in order to get the ball over the line, you have to cheat. So we live in a world where the people who cheat, who are supposed to lose, win. When you're in that realm in politics, everybody who's against them just shuts the fuck up. It's fallen again. They just stop talking. And everyone's like, what, have you given up on the argument? And you kind of go, no. I haven't given up on the argument. I'm just waiting for more evidence to turn up. Because that's all that this is now. Anyone who is arguing against those who are arguing against them is lying to you right now. None of these people are arguing against them. They're just sitting there kind of going, yeah, see? Yeah. Told you. Whatever. It's going to happen now. You voted for it. That sort of attitude. That's what comes through in British politics. The people who are arguing against them go, what, you're calling us racist? Nobody's calling you fucking racist, dude. Nobody's saying a fucking word to you. You're just stuck in your political machinations right now. You're an idiot. And the reason that nobody basically picks on them at this point is because, A, it's a waste of time. And they're now sold. They're now locked in their own political position.
Also, them changing the term. Brexit happened, that's already done.
Well, this is the leadership of, say, the Brexit line
that's what I mean.
are trying to turn no-deal Brexit into some other word.
Australia style.
Yeah, they're giving it another sort of iteration, and anyone in either camp knows that this is bullshit. They're just renaming the same shit.
Frankly, all we've got to get to now is a situation where it's comfortable to have the slogan "Brexit isn't working."
Well, this is the problem with cognitive dissonance. Is that it does take a while for it to set in properly.
Yeah, I know.
And the one thing I learned is that the Brexit thing is a bit like voting Conservative in 1997.
You mean voting for Labour?
No. Let's say this. The the Conservative Party by 1997 were toxic.
Oh, I see.
So nobody actually volunteers the fact that they are. They don't say, oh, immigration is a problem. They say it's an issue. They would say that, the talking points that they had there, they would give it the least, what's the word? The least inflammatory way of saying it, because they knew that whatever they fucking said, it was bullshit. And this is the thing with the Conservative Party, they have these spells where what they're saying is utter crap to the general electorate. Just utter bullshit. And then a certain demographic just buys into it for a while, and then they don't. And it really depends on how long that lasts. It's weird, really, because in this world right now, the left have to be perfect. The left have to be absolutely perfect. Whereas the right are given a lot of sway. Given a lot of room, I've noticed. They can be arseholes. They can be indifferent. They can be callous. They can be cunts. Total cunts. However, the left have to be pure. Perfect. And absolutely perfect. Any error that falls upon any one of them is, it means that they all suffer because of it. But one guy, yeah, who cares if one guy thought that rape is a social construct? Give it a week and they're back in the party. They get chucked out for a week, and then the moment somebody requires a vote, suddenly they're back in. It's weird. Whereas the left are expected to have absolute purity, and then when they exhibit absolute purity, are complained about as being Puritans.
Extreme.
Yeah.
Radical.
Whereas the right have all the options to be whatever they like.
Left is too left
And,
for the left.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you have the Conservatives who will latch on to the idea of the left having the absolutely perfect fight to their advantage.
It's weird. It is really weird. We are living in this. Because I remember the left being the complete opposite of this. They were the loose, all-encompassing engine. They were the people that held the tent open for everybody. But this was in the days when the right were basically saying, women don't get a choice. These are the same people that are saying war for the good of the country. So it's kind of tiring, inevitable, and kind of boring to watch the left fall into the same thing that they fell into the 80s. I mean, it's like with everyone complaining about the BBC and say Jimmy Savile, this horrible paedophile. But if you look at the Conservative Party, the guy was wearing T-shirts saying "Vote Conservative" on the BBC, the left-wing BBC, which was, of course, not left-wing in the 1980s.
No way.
They were they're left. This is how the BBC operate. They are left-wing when it's a left-wing party. They are right-wing when it's a right-wing party. That's always the BBC's way. For some reason or other, the right hate them when they're in charge.
There's been a very interesting moment. There was the whole thing recently about how the government was saying the license fee for the BBC could be scrapped. And interestingly, they worded it as, "We're not bluffing." And my immediate thought was, ooh, and now you're giving yourself away there. Because the only someone who's ever bluffing that says they're not bluffing is bluffing.
But the trouble with the BBC was that at the time the BBC was recovering from the Jimmy Savile issue, and so they were vulnerable, and basically the right wing took advantage of that. And
well, you're missing something, mate. Is that the during the time of Jimmy Savile, they were a right wing organisation. The thing is that when you're a company that is, I suppose this is something for the right wing, is that it doesn't matter who's in charge. When you're a private company, you're going to be yourself. Whereas the BBC, depending on who's in charge, you are going to be more pro or left, pro or against, depending on who's in charge, because they're the people that can stop the license fee. They're the people that can stop you. So, generally, when it comes to the BBC, they generally tend to be more pro right wing when the right wing are in charge, and they're pro left wing when the left wing are in charge.
But it's equally interesting. I mean, like I said, this whole thing now about, which is obviously Dominic Cummings' idea about scrapping the license fee. The weird thing is you're getting people both on the right and the left supporting that.
Well, however, this is the great thing about the right wing. And the right wing do this all the time. They're going to go, we're going to fuck this institution up. And then you kind of go, well, what's the point of this institution if it's going to be fucked up? And they go, yeah, you might as well get rid of it, innit? But okay, then. But there goes your institution. That's their job. The whole point of the right is to undermine institutions. Anything that's getting public money needs to be undermined. So when the right wing are in control of the BBC, they do their level best to undermine it. When the left wing are in the BBC, when the left wing are in control and the BBC are looking after them, the right wing say, "See, they're just a left wing publication." So the BBC are always under attack by the right wing, no matter what. No matter what. Because when the right wing is in control, they will use the fact that the BBC will sort of suck up to the right wing in order to keep themselves on side as a sign of weakness, and meaning that they should be taken out in general. The great thing about the interesting thing about the right wing, not so much the great thing about them, is that they look at institutions and they decimate them and fuck them up while they're in control. And anyone who proposes something like that They say to them, we're going to fuck you up anyway. What's the point? Don't do it. Don't bring in a public institution because we'll fuck it up when we're in control. The message is that don't ever make a public institution. In other words, do what the right wing say, which is make everything private. Make everything private, otherwise we'll fuck it up. Make everything private or we'll fuck it up. It has to be private or we'll fuck it up. And at this point, the only thing that anyone in the electorate should say is that, so what you're basically saying is that we should never, ever, ever allow anyone in the right wing in government. That's the message that the electorate are missing. That's the bit that they, and I say this as a centrist. They say, you know, as a centrist, there should really be no right wing governments because the right wing already have say. And what do you mean by that? It's like you have your say on my billboards, you have your say on my television adverts, you have your say in my newspapers, you have your say everywhere. You know, and I ask,
do they really have say on our adverts?
Absolutely, they do.
Well, I thought that was more the ASA's job.
No, they just have a say whether it's allowable. Tell you what, yeah. Show me a spot cream that just says, you know, you have spots. This will get rid of them. Show me a spot cream that doesn't make you feel bad about having them. Show me an advert that doesn't tell you that you shouldn't feel bad about what you have, that you're trying to get rid of with this whatever product. Show me a product advert that isn't trying to either guilt you or make you feel bad about your situation in order to actually get you to buy a product. And then tell me that the right wing doesn't have a say in your life. Because that's what right wing means. It's making you ashamed of being you. And whatever you are needs fixing. We have it at low, low prices.
Like that shampoo I'm buying to sort out my hair loss.
Whatever the fuck. Who gives a shit about your hair loss? It's not like you're looking for women, is it? When's the last time you even attempted to go on a date?
Never.
There we go. So why do you give a fuck about hair loss?
Because I don't like getting older.
Tough shit.
Get over it, happens to everyone.
Yes.
I know.
And you're talking to people who do not want to sell you anything.
We're all going to grow old and die.
Although you can always just lump into the Patreon. I ain't gonna judge you if you don't.
But on the plus side, there's
Okay,
no point paying into Robin's Patreon because in 10 years' time we're going to die of this climate disaster we're not busy
Well,
avoiding.
this is my idea of a retirement, guys. If I can get up to about 500 a month, I'll be alright.
If we're all going to die anyway,
Give
maybe
me money.
we can
Yeah,
just...
exactly. There we go.
I was going to
Good
say,
idea.
if the inevitable point of living is to die, maybe you could cut it early.
The inevitable point of life is to die. Congratulations, well done. You've made philosophy 101.
No, I've just highlighted a reason for suicide, that's all.
Yes, like I said, that's philosophy 101. Yes, you are born to die. Well, there's this bit in between. Do you want to fill that in or just cut to the middleman?
Coming to the middleman seems very productive.
Yes.
No, wait, sorry. Getting to the end seems
Well,
really
the middleman gives you access to anime while you're waiting for your inevitable death.
And coronavirus has even prevented a lot of that from happening because a lot of in-between animations are handled by China.
They can still transmit, mate. They don't, you don't have to actually physically move information from one place to another these days.
Oh no, I'm just saying it's only a few productions, but some like 3 productions actually had to get halted literally when they were 3 episodes in because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, but that's due to them not being allowed to travel to their own offices. And I mean, they've already done it to a lot of... I know of probably about 12 computer games in the last, say, 5 years that have been written solely by people that have never even met.
It's not actually becoming quite normal.
It is something that could become normalized, yeah. But you know what? I am going to actually cut this one early. It's been a bit of a day. It's been a long day. And I know we're basically about 45 minutes from the end. But I am going to cut this one short because I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning. Trying to get my sleep pattern up and organised, guys. I am going to have a hell of a week next week where I'm going to be getting up at silly AM and going to bed at silly o'clock. And we're doing a shoot tomorrow. So I've got a lot to do with my life. Sorry. And if you really wanted me here more often, you'd pay more money. So you're getting me for free most of the time, most of you. So count yourselves lucky.
They want to pay you?
Apparently some people do. I get about £25 a month right now. So it's something. Thank you to all of you that bother. And it is actually much appreciated. It keeps me going. And it keeps the show going. So what I'm going to be doing is, apart from finishing about 3 videos over the next week, I will be looking into making a new version of the open house that may be Discord appropriate.
Okay.
I'm just going to go and see. I haven't done much research in it recently. I know that it's been a while since Discord's been about as far as OBS is concerned, so I'm hoping they've got a little bit more software available for this. We'll have to see. So you will be looking at a new kind of open house. Don't think I'm necessarily going to change much. It will depend. Like I said, it's just going to depend on what I can actually do here. It's been a while since I've actually looked into this, but as you can see, I can't even use the Facebook version. The Firefox version. My little icon should be moving, but it's not for some reason or another. I've got it set up correctly. You guys move, I don't move. I don't know what the fuck. So whatever this is, it's out of date. Basically, as the moment it actually got laid down. Thank you to Google Hangouts for this. It's never been easy. I've probably managed about 20 shows where it's been working perfectly fine, and I thought it was everything was doing great, and then out of nowhere, it's decided to fuck me in the ass. So I'm just gonna have to think this through. A lot more people are on Discord these days, so it might be worth doing. It's got a lot more control, so you know things are gonna have to change around here. I'll have to see what I can do. So, much love to everybody, and we'll see you on the flip. At the moment, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do Saturday. Says that Saturday next week is going to be okay, but the way things have been going... Oh, I am working. Oh, okay, yeah. Forget Saturday then. Probably going to have to do Sunday. Definitely not Friday. I know that for a fact. My week is basically rammed. So, yeah, I'm gonna call this one short-ish. Come on, 45 minutes could be worse. So much love to everybody, and we'll see you on the other side. Take it easy. Much love.
We should please get Maggie to take over.
I know, I'm a bad person. We'll get there.
Are we out?
We are now